Hello and welcome to the Scunthorpe Alphas versus Merseyside Nighthawks in the Division 1 BAFA North. I am Jay Robinson, joined by Mike Syson on commentary today.
Hello. So, as we can see, Scunthorpe are going to receive the first kickoff. We wasn't sure what the outcome of the coin toss was, so we'll have to see later on when it comes to that. But a very, very warm day here, very bright. Pitch looks a little dry, a little bit dusty, but no excuses there. It's football season.
Yeah, youth were training on it before. It's a little hard, maybe tough for when you're being tackled, but yeah, perfect conditions today as the kickoff goes deep.
Fielded by Lewis Truman. Fake
the reverse
on that. Takes the ball, gets round one. Is met by
one
number 3 immediately. Breaks. He's still going down that sideline, knocked out of bounds.
About 43-yard line, a great return on the first play of the game. Really knocked the cobwebs off after a tough loss to the Yorkshire Rams last week.
Absolutely. It was a tough tackle for number 3 to make in the open field there, but did have a chance to take Lewis Truman down early. So we will see the Alphas come out with the ball around the around the 50-yard line, just into opposing territory there.
Yeah, Lewis Culver getting his 4th start of the season. Up and down results, I would say. There's been definitely chances left out on the field, especially last game. There's a bit of struggles between centre and quarterback connection, quite a few fumbles. We'll we wait to see whether that is rectified for this game.
Seeing a split backfield here for the Alphas. Jack Patterson, it looks like Nat Wise in there at running back.
Yeah, you've got Tom Noon on the left-hand side.
Goes to Nat Wise, running behind Jack Patterson.
Good 5 yards on first down now.
Looks to be stuffed pretty well, but with the momentum that you've got between that pushing offensive line and those two running backs, they're always going to fall forwards for a few more, and looks to have got around 6 on that, which you'll always take for, 1, the first play of the game, but 2, a first down play opens the playbook a little for second down.
A tight end to the right. Quite a bunch formation from the receivers on the right there. That's Adam Woodall on his own on the left.
Another run, Jack Patterson this time.
Breaks one. Yeah, met well on the right-hand side there by numerous Nighthawks defenders.
It almost immediately, maybe a gain of 1, maybe 2. It looks like the refs have given on that far side.
It's the first real test for the Nighthawks this season. They're 2-0 after playing I believe will be after today, 0-3 Sheffield Giants. So it's the first test against new opposition. I'd say these teams look evenly matched. Obviously, haven't met yet, but
it's always tough to say because you never know whether the styles are going to match up. These matchups can always go one way, but we're excited to see how this turns out with the full division really being competitive so far. Blitz from the linebacker position, does blitz off that weak side, but we do end up running strong side. Looks to be around the first down marker. Trying to see where that far referee is. Looks as though he's past the first down marker, so looks as though that's going to be a first down Alphas.
4th down territory anyway from that position.
We're not seeing the chains move yet.
Does look like a first down.
Yeah, quarterback staying out there, so we've got to assume, by a couple of inches it looks like, but it is a first down nonetheless.
The Alphas got out to a fairly strong start, being 21-10 up against the Rams last week. I believe not scoring another point in the game, so early well starts are common for the Alphas this season. We need to see if they can continue that throughout the game. Jay Smith.
Looks to be a pin and pull action there from the Alphas, looking to get those offensive linemen out in space off that left-hand side. There was a little bit of pressure coming from the linebackers of Merseyside, so they'll have to pay attention to where that pressure's coming from as the Alphas and try and sort of counteract that. See Jamal Alvaranga here at running back.
Motion across. Just missed
on that, tried to slip him out of the backside of the formation, which looked to be on. There were a few Merseyside players around there, but there was no reaction to the motion in terms of sort of a man look of people scrambling to chase that guy across the formation. So it was a zone look. There was potentially a look for that to come off, but unfortunately no connection there between, I think it was Jay Smith and Culver.
Yeah, it looked to be. It was definitely wide. It was open for what looked like could have been a first down if the connection was made. The Elliott Smith number 5 there on the top of the screen.
No
Runs
tight
an
end.
unofficial 4.340, which we'd like to see some of that speed today.
It's a screen out to him
ball now.
and a drop, unfortunately. On 3rd down and 7, we would probably assume we're going to see a punt team here as Lewis Culver makes his way to the sideline.
Yeah, it'll be a long field goal. Will Swell's a good punter, especially for the Baffa level. We'll be looking to put this ball within the 10. A touchback would not be ideal.
Yeah, that is Will Swales on to punt, the second-string quarterback for today. York Centurion, I believe.
Yes, I believe so.
But has proved himself to be a very accurate punter at this Division 1 level. I'd look to see him. Oh,
not what you want.
Snap.
More snap troubles.
Maybe I spoke too soon there. Commentator's curse.
Yeah, it looked to be very catchable. I feel like that's a slight drop.
The snap was coming at head height. You can't complain at that as any special teams kicker or punter. Maybe almost wasn't ready for the snap at that point, but no excuses there from a punter standpoint. He's going to kick himself around that one, but we know he'll bounce back. So we're going to see the Merseyside offense for the first time here today. I'm told they like to run a read option, so I assume they have a mobile quarterback today.
Yeah, I mean, we mentioned on the last stream about Baffa football fashion. Quarterback with a jumper on.
Quarterback with a jumper on, wearing number 99 is an unusual one for sure. We're seeing a handoff up the middle.
Well defended. Yeah, a good...
And it looks as though we've got Natty Peck on there, in on the tackle, but there were a few Alphas players to get there first. Natty Peck pushing him back.
I believe it's quarterback Danny Barnes wearing number 99 today.
I've got to assume as a quarterback, he's not the prime choice if he's wearing 99. I always assume 99 is a defensive lineman number. No shade against you there, Danny, but it's an odd number choice for a quarterback position.
Yeah, I've never seen that one before, and especially with... I feel it's not the weather for an undershirt, at least.
Does look to be another handoff up the middle. A little bit of running room there. Maybe 4 or 5 yards before contact. Ends up getting them back to around the 5, so it looks like around a 7-yard gain. I think at those linebacker spots, we've got the same duo that we had. I know, so I can see Luke Truman out there. I don't know who's playing the linebacker position with him today.
I believe there's talk of Ollie Dixon, potentially at linebacker.
And an offside there from... Gives the Merseyside team a free play, puts the ball up. Oh, that was a free play there. I'm not quite sure why the receiver didn't put a little bit more into trying to catch that. Obviously, we know the Merseyside Nighthawks are going to be moving forward, but that had potential to be a touchdown play there. And he decided to just throw one arm up and try and one-hand it for a highlight. Number 16 there, so that was intended for Pedro.
Yeah, I mean, first look at Danny Barnes' arm. Seems to be a decent throw.
Did hang up there a little bit, but does obviously show the Alphas that they are willing to push the ball deep. They are willing to take those deeper shots if they're there. Granted, yes, it was on a free play, so to speak, but now the Alphas have to be aware that 99 can throw the ball.
Furthest on the right, you can see Kaz Dean's first game back after what we thought may be his retirement. A great stuff in the backfield there.
Fantastic shoot through the gap there.
That
Number
may
54.
be Ollie Downhill Dixon.
Downhill Dixon. Let's just double check. That does look like Ollie Dixon. He's got the game day swag of an Ollie Dixon. Just checking the team sheet here just to make sure we're shouting him out for the rest of the game correctly. Yeah, that is Ollie Dixon there.
Ollie Dixon.
Fantastic shoot. Not sure whether that was a blitz. Sorry, just read that perfectly. We are seeing a bootleg left from a right-handed QB. Always tough. Pushes that ball deep. Does have wide open 16 down the sideline.
Touchdown.
And that is a touchdown.
A great throw.
For Pedro. Looks to be Danny Barnes there on a deep connection to Pedro. Just got lost between the cornerback and the safety there. I'm seeing Kaz Deans and TJ being the nearest defensive players there for the Alphas. They're not sure whether that was a lapse in the coverage there or what, really, or it was a blown assignment, but he was wide open. Don't know, the bootleg fake for me wasn't that good to have drawn in things like cornerbacks, but seems to have caught the Alphas off guard as the Merseyside Nighthawks go up 6-0, attempting what looks to be a PAT here to maybe try and turn that into a 7.
Yeah, it's a great throw from Danny Barnes, who's running on here to, I believe, hold. Obviously, bootleg round. I can't imagine that the receiver would have got that wide open without some sort of blown assignment, like you said.
It goes looks to be up, looks to be good. Signal from the referees there. I believe that's number 12 there for the Nighthawks as Oscar Adamson, Nathan Pennington puts that one through for an extra point there for the Nighthawks.
Yeah, I mean, the perfect start for any offense. A deep touchdown for a few solid runs. Obviously, there's the offside call, but a perfect start for Danny Barnes.
I do feel the Alphas did a good enough job there of stopping the run, which is obviously why they went to a pass to try and open them up. Maybe knowing that was going to be open, they maybe game planned for that, but I'd expect the Nighthawks to come back with more of a passing attitude now that the Alphas have shown they can stop that running game. We shall see.
Yeah, I mean, the Yorkshire Rams, who the Alphas have played twice, are a run-heavy offense, so this is something different potentially. The Alphas DBs challenging in a different way to what they may have before.
And that is Elliot Knight on the return here, pitches that back.
Flips it to Harry Lightfoot.
Harry Lightfoot drops a shoulder.
It's a great tackle.
And that's number 11. Fantastic tackle there by Oscar Adamson. One-on-one tackle. Can't ask for anything better on special teams than that. And it looks as though the Alphas will be coming out just around the 30-yard line. So we got a bit of information on the refereeing crew that we've got here today. So we have the head ref of Dave Black, Stuart Kennedy being the umpire, and on the sidelines we have Joe Franklin on the far sideline and Alan Christopher on the near sideline.
Yeah, so further back starting point for the Alphas offense there. Harry Lightfoot with the return, obviously a former rugby player, so suited well to that kick return position. We'll potentially see him a bit at linebacker today, bit in a receiver, all around gadget type player. 2 in the backfield. Only a handoff to Nat Wise, who creates some good room, running for about 8 yards there. Nice run on first down from Nat Wise.
Tremendous running, and you can see Jack Patterson there in front of him leading the charge there. Nat Wise, known as being a bit of a speedster for the Alphas, not necessarily a drop the shoulder pads and run through a guy, but proves there he can do a little bit of both, a little bit of a hybrid back.
Yeah, I would say he's having a strong season. Obviously, I've been lucky enough to come out on one game already, and he did look better than I've seen him before at the Alphas. So he's having a good season so far.
'99 is
Ben Robinson, 99. Well, whoever Danny Barnes is, we're giving him a lot of credit for something he may not have done.
Yeah, just reading the YouTube comments now, we've got 99 is Ben Robinson, and the boy is one of the best QBs in the country. He just doesn't take the sport serious like the elites. So, shout out to Ben for doing it with little effort, I guess.
Yeah, well, maybe he's shown some of that potential on that first drive. It's going to be a first down for the Alphas here. Yet to see a completion from Lewis Culver. Obviously missed the mark on Elliot Knight and JJ Smith. It's going to be a run to Jack Patterson. Off that left-hand
He's got some
side. Good room.
Does have room. Breaks one.
Nice block from Joe Bradley there.
Yeah, fantastic to see Joe out in space. Seems to be a trend for the Alphas this year, trying to get the running backs out in space behind those blockers. Obviously, you will see plays like inside zone and things like that, where obviously the blocking assignments are quite standard, but the Alphas do like to get those guys out in space with some big boys in front. Looks to be a little bit of hurry up here. That was quite quick in terms of getting to the line. We see the motion again. And they are going to drop to Nat Wise this time.
Ooh, high tackle there.
High tackle, but that's 4 or 5 yards of easy completion there. And they do say things like swing passes, things like screens are just an extension of the run game. And when you can connect that easily, obviously a perfectly placed ball there by Lewis Culver, just to allow Nat to catch that and turn up the field without too much hesitation. And when you've got 4 or 5 yards of space as a running back, Nat did perfectly there in terms of just putting your head down and just get the yards you can.
Yeah, speaking to one of my under-19s coaches and overall legend, Sam Fold, before the game, he did mention how the short passes, especially to the outsides, would be open. Lewis Culver to take the snap. It's going to be a handoff to Jack Patterson. He's in space. It's going to be a first down for the Alphas. Around the 20-yard line. Nice run there from Patterson.
Motioning again from the far side. The jet sweep is getting the ball here. Looks to be Jay Smith. Finds a little bit of a crease in there. Drags a few defenders. It looks to be good blocking off that edge there.
A nice gain on first down. It looks to be about 7 or 8 yards.
And as we said earlier, when you end up on these 2nd and 2, 2nd and 3, does open up the playbook a little bit for you. Gives you a little bit of free rein, particularly in this kind of field position. You need to get in here, I think, to try and set the turn. Obviously, it's not going to be game-breaking if the Alphas don't come away with 6 points here. But you think to sort of keep the momentum in check for this game, the Alphas are going to have to come away with some points.
I mean, this sort of situation, you look to a Tom Noon corner, potentially. There's similar plays have worked this season. He looks to be lined up tight end just to the left of the offensive line there. Left of left tackle Aiden Light, I believe it is. Going to run across over the middle.
Does have Adam Woodall on the sideline. Ball looks to have came out a little bit too late there. I think maybe the cornerback there had an opportunity to take a play on the ball, but went for the man instead, forcing the incompletion. I think Adam Woodall was open there. The ball just came out a little bit too late. It's always hard to try and set your feet and get that throw motion perfect while you're on the sprint out. But it was a well-placed ball, I think just a tad late for that play.
Yeah, it's one that you see potentially taken back for 6. Putting it in a situation where the cornerback is breaking on the ball, where the receiver stood still. If he picks the ball off, it's most likely 6 points for the Nighthawks in that situation. It's a bit of a risky pass, but it's 3rd down and around 3 or 4 yards for the Alphas. It's going to be a run
Jack
up the
Patterson
middle.
Run. Does have a white wall in front of him, but he's brought down by the Nighthawks again. We'll see. Looks to be around 4th and a yard. Next play coming up.
Yeah, big decision there early on. The Alphas go for it. I feel like with their run game, they've got 2 yards to play in them. It looks like the offense is staying out.
I would expect to see the same. Obviously, there's nothing to stop them from taking the field goal here. They do have a adequate kicking unit, but when you're in this kind of field position, you don't get this opportunity much. So I think you have to try and punch this in, whether you get the touchdown now or you just try and get the first down. Looks to be around 2 yards needed. We're seeing split back. Jack Patterson looks like Jamal Alvaranga in there.
I believe that might be Josh Knowles on the right-hand side.
Josh Knowles?
I believe so.
And we are seeing a timeout.
Number 7, Jay Smith.
That is Jay Smith. Looks to be timeout Alphas. Looks as though they were actually just trying to get the Merseyside Nighthawks to jump offside. Obviously, if they do jump offside into that neutral zone, would end up being 5 yards and a first down for the Alphas and giving them more opportunities. But we are seeing a change of personnel both from the Alphas and from the Nighthawks. So it looks as though we will see the field goal unit come out now.
Yeah, Swales on. Got Truman on the left-hand side, implementing one of the plays we run sometimes at 19s, just hiding the receiver.
They still aren't paying attention to Lewis Truman on the near side again.
Maybe potential for...
Yeah, they're just not seeing Lewis Truman stood wide open on the sideline. You'll see it on the screen here.
I wonder if maybe a timeout could be called by...
Doesn't look to be any panic on the far sideline either from the Merseyside coaching staff. You'd expect to see Lewis Truman catching this ball here. They're noticing it now.
Ball goes deep.
I heard a whistle.
Truman catches. Touchdown. But now, will that stand?
Yep, touchdown signaled by the head referee, Dave Black, in the middle of the pitch there. I have to say, I'm surprised that the Nighthawks, not one of the 11 players on the pitch there noticed, but also none of the coaching staff seeing that he was stood wide open. You saw it as much as we did on the pitch there. Just a lapse in concentration, it looks like, for the Nighthawks. And you'll remember last time that we played a home game here. Unfortunately, Culver misconnected with Lewis Truman on that exact same play.
Potentially game-winning play in the end.
Absolutely, yeah. Would have resulted in a different scoreline, possibly a different result. But able to connect here, looks as though they've managed to work out whatever kinks they had on getting that ball to the wide-open receiver. And Alphas are going to come away with 6, looking to be that 7 now.
Swales for the kick to level the game up.
Good snap, good hold. Kick is good. We're tied up at 7 apiece, as we will see the Alphas kick off team for the first time today. Thank you to the people in the YouTube comments letting us know that change of jersey numbers for today. So 99, who have got a quarterback, is Ben Robinson, and Danny Barnes is actually wearing number 7 today. But Danny, you can post on your Instagram or your Facebook the commentary of us saying you threw a touchdown pass. Feel free.
It's good response from the Alphas there. Obviously a tough pill to swallow, conceding 7 points on the first drive of the game for the Nighthawks, but they've done well. Brought it back with a nice drive. Obviously, slice of luck potentially. The Nighthawks not recognising like I said, we run that play at 19s, and I was able to throw an extra point completion in our most recent tournament. So sometimes they do just miss it, but you'd expect at the adult level that those sort of mistakes would be cut out a little bit more. It was a long time he was stood there.
So we're seeing 2 returners back on the kick return unit for the Nighthawks. Unfortunately, can't see the numbers from where we're placed. A low line drive kick there from Will Swales. Looks as though it didn't make it to...
Flag on the field.
Yeah, it doesn't make it to the end zone, so will be a flag on that play for the kick going out of bounds. Unfortunately, I don't know the correct terminology for that, but the Merseyside Nighthawks will get the ball further up the field than they would have originally.
Yeah, I believe maybe around a 15-yard penalty around the 40-yard line. And not a good start to this drive defensively from the Alphas.
Feel free, as you have been, everyone that's watching, to contribute to the YouTube chat along with it. We are taking a look at those as they come through, particularly those from the Nighthawks fans, just to give us a little bit more insight into the team. Obviously, we know the Alphas well here, but not too much about the Nighthawks. We're working off the team sheet that the team's given us, so thank you for that from Merseyside, but we're just trying to get what we can now.
Potentially some confusion here about where the ball is going to be placed.
And as we have this tremendous team sheet here from the Nighthawks, let's shout out the people that we can see for the offensive line for the Nighthawks. Don't get too much of a shout out, so I can see 70 out there. That's Francisco Rodriguez. We'll let you know the rest of the guys as we can as we get back to the action now. Looks to be another handoff up the middle.
Well. I believe that's Connor Greenhall.
Yeah, in 91. Who I believe
first
is
game for the Alphas.
New signing.
Star for the York Centurions this season. I believe it may be his first season in football. So he's
definitely looks to have the build for it.
Yeah, rangy the end.
Playing defensive end, he's got the length, he's got the size. We shall see.
It looks to be that left end position. See if he has much impact on this game.
Another run at the middle. Gap
Lot
is
of
huge.
space.
Completely
1-on-1, Gaz
untouched
Hughes.
all the way to the safety.
Yeah, nice tackle, Gaz Hughes there, but
Not sure if that one is Gaz Hughes. Gaz Hughes looks to be far side. That's 30, which is Kaz Deans today.
well, a crucial 1-on-1 tackle in his first game back. Looked to be not much linebacker presence there.
Yeah, it looks as though the gaps weren't correctly filled there. Obviously, anyone that plays defensive football will know you have to be gap sound on defense, meaning that each player is responsible usually for one gap. So if someone runs through that particular gap, it's your responsibility. It looks as though that was completely unassigned there for the Alphas. As we see another handoff up the middle, huge blocks, and that's another nine-yard gain for the running back there. Can we get a number on that? That's number 27, which is Gary Plunkett.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure who that offensive lineman was, but someone picked up a Ollie Downhill Dixon blitz very well for a pancake, setting up that run as I believe he'd got the right assignment with a blitz straight into what looks to be the A gap. Yeah, really good blitz pickup from the offensive lineman there.
Second and short, potential shot territory for me here. We're seeing a swing pass out. Is met immediately.
Behind him, Nat Peck for the great tackle.
Who's having a great year so far. Does come away with the ball, but referees have blown that as down. The octopus strikes again.
Yeah, one of the stars of this Alphas defence, a former Sheffield Giants youth, still a young guy.
Rookie of the year last year for the Alphas.
Yeah, I believe around 20 years old. He's got a big future in the game. I'm sure the likes of GB, adults team, maybe in the future as he gains experience. But yeah, he's a range of positions has really been a star for this Alphas team and defence specifically. Got back, goes deep again. TJ.
And there is a flag. Looks to be
field.
pass interference there. You'd assume based on the far side referee, Joe Franklin, throwing that flag. There was an arm on the receiver there from TJ, but don't know whether it was enough to warrant a pass interference on my call. We are seeing the referees head into the middle for a discussion here. We'll see what comes of that.
Yeah, it looks slightly weak for me. Solid coverage, and it wasn't a particularly catchable ball.
Receiver potentially could have worked his way back to it. There's always the debate that they could have obviously ran back and made that one. But it's always tough to say when the ball's just hanging in the air like that.
I think we're seeing some Yorkshire Rams walk in front of us here. The premier team in this division so far.
Yeah, we're seeing a few of the Rams team. Obviously, the Rams, I assume, don't have a game today based on that. Rams currently sitting at 4-0, 3-0.
I believe it maybe 3 or 4 now.
Yeah, undefeated. Obviously, with 2 wins against the Alphas. I'm not sure who their other wins were against, but they are undefeated. Obviously, they would have had training, I assume, this morning, and just getting around to scout the division. Obviously, they've played the Alphas twice already. I assume they're probably here to do some scout work on Merseyside.
Yeah, the Rams will be looking to get promoted this year. I believe they lost out in the semi-final last year.
They lost to
Nottingham
Nottingham.
Caesars.
Yeah.
Who haven't had the best start to life in a tough Premier North division.
There always is a huge jump from Division 1 to the Premiership here in British American football. Obviously, teams are fighting for that spot to get up there, but it is tough for a first year. We do see a lot of teams go up for a year and then bounce immediately back down. It is a different ball game at that level.
Nighthawks were Prem North last year.
Yeah. So they've come down and looking to make a statement here in Division 1. Like I say, they're also off to a hot start. They are 2 wins, 0 losses as well. Still undefeated. Obviously, the Rams playing more games, so are technically top of the division, but Merseyside do sit here undefeated as well. We're seeing trips out to the near side here.
Yeah, the flag was confirmed, pass interference. I believe it's not a spot foul. Maybe it is. Maybe that's youth rules I'm thinking of there. It is in the NFL.
And that's a handoff to 27 again. Is met by 50 off the near side. Natty Peck from the far side. And that is a flag, I would assume, for excessive roughness, a late hit there. I believe that's Alex Irving.
Yeah, Alex Irving, number 50.
Alex Irving and Natty Peck there. So obviously in on the tackle, a great stop. Started pushing the guy back. Referee's flag did blow. and then the tackle continued, taking the running back to the ground. So the referees are looking to discuss that. But if that is, I believe that the penalty is excessive roughness, but essentially is a late hit call.
Yeah, tough for the Alphas though. Obviously, a tackle for loss, resulting in a 10-15 yard gain for the Rams, especially in the Nighthawks, especially in this position of the field. Be a costly mistake when the tackle was already made.
Ben Dixon in the comment section saying that he believes it's 15 yards for a pass interference call. Looks to be a longer penalty, what they got. That looks longer than 15 in terms of where the ball has been moved from and to. Not entirely sure. I'm not a referee. I apologise.
Just to confirm, in this division, Chester Romans 31, Sheffield Giants 13. I believe that's Chester's first win in the season. They go to 1-3. Giants fall to potentially 0-4, 0-3.
Have they played today? Was that an early kickoff?
Yeah, an early kickoff. I believe they started around 11 o'clock.
Oh, okay. Don't see that too often in Brit Ball. Thank you to Kemar in the comments as well, letting us know the Rams are 4-0 rather than 3-0. He put Chester. I don't know whether both of the other games were against Chester, but hey-ho. So it will be first down and goal here for the Merseyside Nighthawks. Coming out in a split spread formation, running back offset to the right. Looks to be a handoff up the middle to 27. He's met by Alex Irving in the backfield.
Met really well.
And nothing wrong with that tackle. Absolutely picture perfect. Setting that edge. And I was talking to Chip Wilson, the defensive coordinator for the Alphas last night ahead of the game, trying to get some information for us in the commentary booth. Did say that he's expecting a big game from Alex Irving, as they do run that read option offense here at Merseyside. So you'd expect him to be the read key majority of the time. You do see in their formation now, actually, that's very interesting. Alex Irving is always making his way to the side of the running back, so that he is always going to be the read key by looks of it. We're seeing him drop back to pass. Ball goes to the corner of the end zone, overthrown, unfortunately, there.
Yeah, double coverage, well played by the Alphas defense. I would say about Alex Irving really being a standout player this season. He's always been a key player for the Alphas, but really it made a step up in the absence of Danny Ogunbambi Thomas from last season. Likes of Cam Belk out injured. It really stepped up to one of the key defensive pieces on this Alphas.
You will see him make his way to the near side here. Obviously, the running back is this side, trying to be that read key if they do go with that read option. We do see a defensive jump there. Quarterback is looking to roll right, looks to throw back at the end zone. Does have a guy, but unfortunately it's over the head of 18 there. So that was intended for Tyson McDonald from Ben Robinson. Unfortunately, a little bit too high. But as someone who's formerly played QB, when you get a defensive encroachment, someone jumping off sides like that, you, especially in this kind of field position, you have to just put that ball into the end zone. You're always going to get the extra yards. You're not sort of risking anything in that standpoint. So if anyone's new to football, doesn't understand those rules, if the offense is able to snap the ball while the defense is in the neutral zone, so the area in between those big bruisers in the trenches, they get what is called a free play, as they are able to, they know they're going to accept the penalty after the play, will get the corresponding yardage. So there's no risk in them really trying to put that ball, whether it's an interception or a touchdown. Touchdown, obviously, you're going to decline it. We'll say we'll take the touchdown, thank you very much. But there is no risk involved in putting that ball into the end zone. As it looks, we have just reached the end of the quarter as we're seeing the teams switch sides now.
Yeah, I mean, the Nighthawks aren't a particularly run or pass heavy team. They're quite balanced. Alphas in particularly run heavy, which does usually result in a more a rolling clock and a quicker quarter, a quicker game in general.
Yeah, we did see quick games against the Rams as both teams being quite run first. They do seem, like you say, quite flexible, the Merseyside Nighthawks. They are still running the ball considerably more, I'd say around a 70-30 split, but the clock is going to keep marching on if we continue at this rate anyway.
Yeah, sadly, we don't have an accurate clock on the stream. All we know from the commentary booth that is just whichever quarter it is. About 5 or 6 yards out for the Nighthawks there on third down.
Looks to be man coverage here from the Alphas. Everyone with a guy directly over them for the Nighthawks. Expect man coverage here and a heavy box, so potentially looking to stop the run. They do read option. 99 pulls the ball, keeps it, jogs his way into the end zone. Ben Robinson played that excellently. The read key crashed. Didn't see who the read key was on that play. We'd assume Alex Irving based on the previous discussions we just had about the personnel, but he's been handing that ball off all day long, has Ben Robinson. It only takes one of those pulls and results in a touchdown here for the Nighthawks.
Yeah, I mean, we mentioned Alex Irving. I believe it was him there, stuck in two minds. Obviously, a correct real option play leaves the defensive end in no man's land, essentially, if it's done properly, and it was executed well there. Alex Irving initially goes for the running back, but is wrong-footed by the quarterback, and it's now 14-7. The Merseyside Nighthawks.
Now, I know the Alphas are obviously happy to have come away with 7 points from that previous drive, but probably not over the moon with how the points came, with that sort of trick play on the field goal. The Alphas will look to try and get some form of momentum here with their typical offense rather than resorting to those trick plays. Obviously, the points are great to have on the board, but the manner in which they got them maybe not ideal for the Alphas, and we'll be looking to set the turn now and get back to their regularly scheduled offense.
Yeah, from an Alphas point of view, you want to see them execute on all facets of offense. Not really seen too much from the passing offense. It's quite typecast to what it is usually this season for the Alphas. Strong running, pass game letting them down slightly, with a couple of drops and missed time passes.
So we are seeing Harry Lightfoot and is Elliot Knight back to return the kicks, I believe.
Yeah, we can't quite see it from the booth. Looks to be.
You'd assume as well they will be looking to run that reverse or fake reverse as they have been all year so far. Kick looks to be at Elliot Knight. We do see the fake on that left-hand side of your screen, ends up keeping the ball. Elliot Knight running up that right hash.
Good blocking
space,
up front.
good blocking out front.
Still going,
still on his feet. Breaks again.
Great return.
Into opposing territory, past the 40-yard line. Fantastic return, fantastic blocking out on that near side as well. I don't feel personally that the Merseyside Nighthawks are biting too much on that fake reverse or the reverse when it does happen, but that's the whole thing about special teams. You just got to block your guy, stay assignment sound, and you can get to the 50-yard line. Yeah,
I feel like they're not really getting downfield quick enough to be able to bite on the reverse. I feel like it's if they were getting down there much quicker, they'd be able to pick a side earlier. But good blocking up front is going to cause those gaps to form, and someone with Elliot Knight's speed will be able to capitalise on that.
Seeing a one high look from Merseyside's defence. Mershon does end up being a run up the middle to Jack Patterson. Gets tackled.
5-yard gain.
2 yards downfield. Always going to fall forward for 3. Looks to be around a 5-yard gain for Jack Patterson there.
Yeah, ideal on first down.
They seem to be doing well on those first down plays. That first down play always sets them up with a decent second down. I don't think we've seen a 2nd and 8 or anything of that nature yet.
No, it's been run only on first down from what I can remember. Very heavy on the run. Another one. Jack Patterson.
One running
great
patiently,
running room.
Waits for the gap to appear. That is a fantastic tackle there from the linebacker there.
Was that violent tackle from number 22? I believe that is Ikechi
Apakama?
Apakama, yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, fantastic tackle there. Just laid the shoulder. Got to say, it's the first time I've seen Jack Patterson's legs go out from underneath him. Obviously, hit him quite high up. Normally, that's Jack Patterson's room to thrive, but maybe he's met his match here in terms of those trenches. We are seeing a drop back to pass. Quick pass out to Jack Patterson. Stays on his feet. Still going. Good block from Adam Woodall. We are seeing a flag come in. Not sure whether that block was in the back potentially out here.
Yeah, it's Truman. Number 8 for Nighthawks. Doesn't look too happy about that.
No, we are seeing Lewis Truman have a bit of a chat afterwards, but with Daniel Hampton-Johns. Doesn't look to be anything too aggressive. Just chatting about what happened there, as I assume that's likely going to be a block in the back call.
Yeah,
a good completion there from the Alphas. They're not taking too long in terms of getting the ball out. taking that pressure away. Let's just hit the swing passes, hit the little passes out to the running backs so far. Seems to be working. Obviously, Jack Patterson was met immediately, but manages to break that first tackle. But something obviously has gone wrong there for the Alphas by the looks of it.
Yes, I count the third positive play on offense and defense that's been returned due to an Alphas penalty. Something that they're going to need to deal with throughout the game. They can't keep losing on these positive plays. It's going to be a maybe 15-yard penalty for legal block in the back. 10 or 15 usually is for those sort of calls.
Looks to be around 10. I think they were on 2nd and 5, so now we're seeing what I assume to be 2nd down again.
Maybe it's 10 or 15 from the spot of the foul, essentially.
So 1st and 12 looks like we are getting immersion here. Looks to be a draw play. Drops that down to Jay Smith.
A good run. It looked to be some sort of there's an injury down on the field there.
Yeah, was misdirection on that play. You had Jamal Alvaranga looking out as a swing pass. Obviously, they set him in motion. Fakes the swing pass to Jamal Alvaranga and then just dropped the ball off to Jay Smith there, hoping that the linebackers and that defensive secondary for the Merseyside Nighthawks flows over to that running back in motion. But yeah, so we are seeing an injured player down for the Nighthawks. Unfortunately, I don't have a number at the moment. We'll get that for you when we can. We'll obviously pan away from that and just share some of our club sponsors. And we will be back with you shortly. Once we can get a number, we will inform you on any updates. So that was number 7 there for the Nighthawks that I believe has made his way off the pitch. As we're back on 2nd and looks like 6 for the Alphas. Single back, tight end, near side, 2 receivers to the top.
Dropping back to pass.
Dropping back. Miss there. Looks to be mesh rail, I believe, the play there. You end up with your 2 slot receivers running across each other, hoping to get someone open. But the first read is always going to be that running back on a wheel right up the sideline. But looks as though the ball was positioned too far outside, obviously, as the running back. I'm putting in myself in his shoes here. If you're running to this near side, you're expecting the ball over your left shoulder to sort of draw you up the field. That ball was placed more to his right, so unfortunately couldn't track that one while it was in the air.
Yeah, looked to be another misconnection from running back to QB to running back, sorry. Trips to the left-hand side. Alphas. A run up the middle. Jamal.
Jamal.
Still going. It's a fantastic
still going
run.
Inside the 5. Looks to be down at the 5-yard line.
No idea how he got 15 yards off of that run there.
No, I feel like I saw him behind his own offensive line and then he popped up with 3 Merseyside defenders hanging off him.
Yeah, from what I've heard about the last game against the Rams, despite the loss, It was a very positive performance, especially from the running backs. A run, Jay Smith. He's got the edge. Touchdown,
and that
Alphas.
is a touchdown. Alphas looked to go quite quick in terms of their play call in there. Easy handoff for Lewis Culver there. And Jay Smith does all the work there, getting out to the sideline, but has all the praise for his offensive line there. I don't feel like anyone really gave him too much trouble there out off that left-hand side.
Yeah, still shows a lot of speed to get round the edge, bend his run whilst maintaining a high level of quickness. I believe that.
And you are seeing Lewis Truman that near side again. Alpha's looking to maybe come away with an extra point here.
Yeah, number 12 alert to it. I believe that's JJ Smith's first touchdown for the Alphas. I may be wrong, but they didn't score in the last game. At least his first home touchdown. To be certain.
Good snap, good hold. Looks as though there was a bit of contact in terms of that ball going through. Maybe number 11 there got a hand on the ball, but the kick does go through.
And we are level again.
Tack on an extra point to tie us at 14. This is very much a run-dominated game. I'd expect this to be over in about 10 minutes.
Yeah, another good response from the Alphas. They'll definitely need a more positive drive on defense. Knights are scoring prolifically, and usually in games like this where it's back and forth, it's tough for the team who's trailing both times to really stick to the Knights in this example. So Alphas will need a good stop on defense and then points to really shift the momentum of this game. Because despite how many points the Alphas are scoring, it doesn't seem as if the Nighthawks offense is stopping anytime soon.
Yeah, the games like these always come down to which defense can buckle up for a drive. Obviously, if the Alphas D ends up getting a stop here, then they end up with that controlling factor and new possession. Okay, kick does bounce just in front of the returners. We've seen 11 scramble around the ball, picks it up, he's running to the right, makes the first guy miss, does manage to get to the sideline. I don't know how he's found that much space. Jukes back inside, eventually brought down by a gang, but that is a hell of a return there by Oscar Adamson. Done extremely well to find that space, particularly after taking that amount of time to pick up the ball. I've always thought with kick returns, the more time it takes for you to establish where you're going opens up more spaces, because that means all 11 players of the Alphas have to stay assignment sound for that extra 5 or 6 more seconds, which at this level, we're not in the NFL here, people are going to struggle to stay that disciplined for that long. It opens up more spaces, is my experience with those anyway.
Yeah, that's what we mentioned about the misdirection usage from the Alphas. It's not really doing anything because the Nighthawks are so far away. They didn't really change what their assignment is. It's a good run up the left there. Brought down Ollie Dixon, again, a nice tackle. Go back to Oscar Adamson, number 11. It's not the first time we mentioned his name. I believe he's a defensive player.
I'm not seeing him out on the offense now, so you would assume he's likely a DB, safety, that sort of thing, if he's back there returning.
In the kick return,
going quick here for Merseyside. Another handoff up the middle. Looks to be another read option. 24 with the ball, it looks like.
Well defended by the Alphas. Connor Greenhold again, number 91. And a nice tackle off the edge.
So Merseyside are sticking with that inside zone read look. We are seeing 99 as he's handing that ball off, reading that mesh key, which we're seeing tends to be Alex Irving. Alex Irving now taking his medicine, forcing the quarterback to hand that ball off rather than get bit by that read option again, as the Merseyside did for a touchdown before. Drops back to pass, steps up in the pocket, does get hit.
Still going, breaks another.
And he's got room, he's gone up that sideline.
Now Ben Robinson having a very good game so far, looking competent, throwing the ball and very impressive with his feet.
He's definitely proving me wrong. Wearing number 99 doesn't mean you're not a quarterback. He's doing extremely well. Great pocket presence there. The Alphas were getting some pressure there, forced him to move around, but unfortunately no sort of QB contain or a QB spy there to prevent him from fully taking off.
Yeah, from a quarterback's point of view, as we're seeing something from the referees there, from a quarterback's point of view, rushes from the edge, it's almost giving the quarterback room up the middle. If there's no spy there, it's not the hardest thing to do, just step up in the pocket and then run. usually you would need pressure up the middle and the edges for the perfect pass rush. Obviously, that's not going to happen many times in a sport like this, but it's giving a competent runner like Ben Robinson the room to run and progress downfield.
We are seeing a short break in the action here, unsure whether it was a timeout called as teams have gone to their respective sidelines.
Maybe an organised drinks break due to the heat to them.
Due to the weather, potentially, yeah. So back to the offensive line that we've got out there for the Merseyside Nighthawks. We're seeing Ben Hughes at 50. We've got 64, which is James Ingham. What other numbers can you see out there, Jay?
I think we've mentioned 70.
Yep. 75 out there too. Brad Newton. Seems to be doing a great job. Both offensive lines here doing extremely well in terms of pounding the ball, taking the hard yards.
There's 77, George Banya. I believe maybe centre.
Okay, from my perspective here, this is most definitely going to be a run as we're seeing the quarterback take a short huddle with just his offensive lineman. Receivers were not involved in that small conversation at all, so I would expect to see a run here as we do.
Up the middle. Bottle up well. Side there. If you have Jack Marshall and Jord Carr, two players who have moved inside today. Ben Robinson clearly can do it all, according to the comments. A good golfer, as well as being apparently one of the better QBs in the country. Goes deep.
Ball deep, right side, post over the top.
Looked to have another option to the right. It was much further open.
Although I don't hate that. He's showing that the Alphas have to respect that, and although they're not connecting on that ball there, the Alphas have to pay attention to those deep routes. They can't just fully sell out to stop the run when Ben is showing that he has the arm to throw those deep balls.
Looks like the receivers here, either they know it's going to be a run or there's other tells of what the play is for them. They don't seem to be included in these huddles. Yeah,
play fake, screen out to the left is met immediately.
Great play there. Not quite sure who that was.
That's number 20.
Luca Martinez. Even maybe number 23. Yeah, Luca Martinez for the Alphas there.
Almost unblocked, it seems. He obviously, if you're going to run those screens to the outside receiver, the most dangerous person to make that tackle is always going to be that cornerback who stood immediately over him. Didn't see the formation they were in, apologies for that, but you'd assume that's normally the responsibility of the slot receiver on that side as the nearest offensive player to go and make that block, but obviously not done there.
To this.
And we're seeing 4th and 9, they're going for it here. Drops back to pass, looks left, he's looking over the top, sets his shoulders, does have a man, he's got a step.
Good play.
And that is fantastic defense there.
Got the hand up.
Yeah,
got the head around to the end.
Turned the head. I think that's Luca Martinez again. Good pat on the back there from 21 of the Merseyside Nighthawks. Good sportsmanship there, as that was intended for Dominic Wu, but broken up by Martinez.
Yeah, really superb play there. I mean, 4th and 9. It was a go big or go home play. Missed the mark. Just maybe threw in a little bit late. Didn't give Dominic Wu too much space to really come back to the ball. He was almost out the back of the end zone.
I don't hate the ball. I don't hate the positioning of it, but I think it just held too long in the air. I think the receiver did have a step. Allowed the cornerback to get caught back up and play that ball.
Yeah, we see 4 receivers. The Alphas. It's going to be a throw. It looks like
good pass
Truman's got space
all day. He's got a man up the sideline.
He's
That's Lewis Truman.
He's gone. Touchdown Alphas.
He's gone. Straight up, just beats number 12 there over the top. Not sure whether that was 12 playing from a safety or a cornerback position, but almost feel as though he hid away on that sideline again. I know obviously he didn't. It was an offensive play, but no one had eyes on that sideline. No one had eyes on him there.
I mean, I didn't quite see the full concept, but it did look like some sort of wheel from Lewis Truman. And really nice concept from the Alphas there. Truman with a lot of space, a great ball. You saw that connection missed a few times in the previous home game. especially on the last play, when we look to be open. However, maybe the wrongs have been righted here, and it's a touchdown for the Alphas as they take the lead in a very important space. Just as I said, a stop from the defense met by a touchdown from the offense.
And like you say, it's gone from the Alphas chasing in possessions of what seems to be a bit of a shootout here today to the Alphas having the upper hand with Mersey looking to chase. We are seeing a flag come from the back judge. Not sure what that one was for. Obviously, the player hadn't gone ahead. Thomas Noon signalling that it's a flag on them. But I assume here for the Alphas, we are still just going to see the kicking team, whether or not it's from the 3-yard line or the 1-yard line. They're likely just going to kick it.
Yeah, potentially Lewis Truman flexing out the wide out. I believe the Nighthawks are going to be key on that, obviously, conceding 7 points because of it. I believe that's a mistake they're really going to try and not make again. It's going to be Swales, who's cold with the hold.
I'll tell you something that is interesting here, and I don't think we've ever noticed this. Will Swales is a left-handed quarterback. He kicks right-handed, right-footed.
Wow. I mean, I guess you see that sometimes in football and
I've
stuff like that.
I've never noticed that.
Yeah, something we've not picked up on before. I mean, no matter how ambidextrous he may be, it's a good kick, and it's a 7-point lead for the Alphas, 21-14. As we must be near half-time, I would say. No 2-minute warning yet.
No, I haven't seen a 2-minute warning, but also there has been passes, there has been stops due to flags. I don't think we're actually too far through this second quarter. I think we've probably got 4 or 5 minutes left in the quarter. 2 returners back, looks like 11 and 19. Is that Jay, our near side?
I'm not quite sure. I mean, that would be Alex Willett with Oscar Adamson.
Oscar with a good return last time. Maybe this time he drops it on purpose to try and get that space again. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, it does often seem to work. I'm not sure how you would do that without... Obviously, you don't want the drop. As many bad things could happen, but maybe more of a stutter, a slower approach.
Seen Andy Bagnall with a kickoff here. Looks as though Will Swales has been retired to strictly PATs.
Going to be returned by the running back.
Oh, he misses to miss
well
tackle
into contact.
there.
There's well into contact there, the returner. We'll call Alex Willett. Not sure. It looks to be goes well into contact. But a missed tackle there, maybe a couple of missed tackles there from the Alphas. Not the best return ever on the 25-yard line. There's a timeout. Is that to the Alphas? Or to the Nighthawks there, you see him huddling up. For a key drive before the end of this game.
Don't know if it will be the case. Obviously, I don't know too much about the Nighthawks, but anytime that you're starting play on a drive, it results in a full offense huddle. Either it's a bit of a momentum shift, as you can see, that's almost a full team huddle actually on their sideline.
Yeah, it looks to be.
Or they're going to try and come out and do something a little bit tricky here. Not sure about it.
Yeah, I mean, as much as this is a key drive for the half, it's still a half of football left and a couple of minutes left in this in the first. No need really for anything silly that may result in a positive play for the Alphas. Obviously, they've conceded 14 points in a row, which is not ideal, but it's only a 7-point game. They've shown they can score. I feel like more of the same should take a lot of time off the clock and usually does result in points. So I feel like nothing silly from the Nighthawks would be the
They are running a speed option to the right-hand side. Ben pitches that ball to 27.
Got the first down.
I'm seeing a helmet on the floor for 77. There is a flag, multiple flags thrown around the spot where that helmet came off for 77. As we see George Banya, helmetless. I assume he has to come off for a play now. I think any time that your helmet does come off in a game, you have to take a play out. So we'll see. Not seeing the number there, but 50.
27.
55 come on in place of Banya.
Is it 27 with the ball?
Yep.
Gary Plunkett. You hear of many Garys anymore?
Not many Garys.
I believe there's a stat there's not been a Gary born since 1999, but that may not be true. And if it is, that means he's 26 plus.
You say that like it's old.
No, it's not particularly old, but I don't imagine there's many young Garys. Wait and see what the call is. The referee's in discussion over the middle of the field.
Yeah, so we did see the helmet come off from 77, but there wasn't too much like tussling around it afterwards, so I don't feel there was any malice in it or intention. Obviously, these things happen in the trenches. It's never a good thing to see, obviously, for player safety, but has happened, and the refs are just discussing, I assume, whether there was any malice in it, as it looks like we've got the head ref talking with the back judge.
Yeah, it looks like the Alphas defence are backing off. Indicative of a foul on the defence. Yeah, it seems to be a spot foul. What's my conduct? I heard there.
Yeah, I didn't quite catch the number, but we will see the Nighthawks marching forwards towards the Alphas end zone there after that penalty.
Yeah, 15 yards from the spot of the foul. The key flag on the Alphas. Nearing 100 yards of flag.
Probably not far off.
Is not good for the first half.
We are seeing a run up the middle again. Didn't catch the number pre-play, but I assume that's Gary again.
Yeah, a solid 5 yards on the first down from Gaz. And
we are seeing 55 now come back out as George Banya makes his way back into the game. Trips to the near side, running back out on a wheel. Short hitch, unfortunately, doesn't connect there. That's intended for
Alex
19.
Willett.
Alex Willett. Ball was a little bit high there.
Yeah, I was going to say a little bit high.
And we are seeing 55. Is that Steve Sowerby? 55?
Yeah, but he's played quite a lot of offensive line this year. But primarily a defensive lineman, or has been in the previous years.
Yeah, most of his experience has been at D-line, but looking through some of the film and the plays that have been posted on social media by the Alphas team, is a menace on that offensive line. I was chatting with him before, as we see a quick pass out to the slot.
Still going.
Makes his way down the sideline, still on his feet, does go out of bounds there.
I believe that to be 18. Tyson McDonald. Name called. I believe we got a reception earlier.
Yeah, so Steve Sowerby obviously moved his way over to offensive line, said he loves the fact that he just knows his matchup, he knows his assignment, he can just go through that and not have to worry about reacting too much. This is my job. My job is to block this guy. Sorry, that looks like it was 16 on that reception. Pedro again, who caught the touchdown earlier.
All going deep again.
Deep over the middle, no one anywhere near. Not sure if I saw a flag there. There was a few appeals.
Yeah, I don't think anything on the field. What I would say, obviously not from a quarterback's perspective, but from a receiver perspective, the balls Ben Robinson is throwing seem to be high and looped. Obviously, you don't want to laser always as a receiver, but when it's that high and it's taken a long time to develop, you're allowing the DB to get back towards the ball.
And we saw that earlier with this pass to the near side corner. I think if that was more of a lobbed pass than a looping pass, I think they maybe come away with some points there. But
yeah, especially on that play, looked to be a seam up the middle. Primarily with a seam, you don't want too much air on it. It's an inside shoulder across the middle, a bit of zip on the
Immersion
ball.
coming across, and it is the inside handoff with the
Nice counter. He's still going.
Still going.
Towards the end zone.
He's at the goal line. Good push from the offensive line. Does take him in. Near side
Touchdown,
judge.
Rams. Sorry, not Rams. Nighthawks. I'm saying Rams there. Takes it to 21-20, pending the extra point.
Was that Gary again? I'm not seeing it from where we're situated right now.
Not 100% sure who was on the rush.
Let's just say it was Danny Barnes again, because we've called him out touchdown earlier. Let's just say that was a Danny Barnes rushing touchdown. If someone could, because let us know. Obviously, number 99 as a quarterback is an unusual position. In the comments, is that Ben's usual position? Does he play a little bit of everything? Is he a bit of a Swiss Army knife, or is he the staple quarterback here at Merseyside?
Kick is up and good. We have got a level game again. Still a shootout here. 21-21 in the first half. Neither defense really able to stamp their authority on the game. Nighthawks offense performing really well. Alpha's offense, 21 points. They're playing well. The rushing offense, a few big plays and the trick play. Feel Nighthawks are establishing a better offense, I would say, throughout the game.
21 points in a quarter as an offense, you can't really say you're not doing your job there. Although it's not been pretty, it's not been as probably methodical as the Alphas would have hoped, but the results are there. I think that's the same motorbike that pulled up halfway through our last game. So if you can hear that in the background, apologies. But yeah, so I think both offenses will be happy with how they've performed so far. The defenses will likely want to make some changes at halftime or while they're not on the field and try and sort of slow down the opposition, because this does appear to be turning into a little bit of a shootout here.
Yeah, well, I would say it is tough from a defensive perspective, especially on the last drive. You get into the tent there, start to make some changes, and you see Lewis Truman racing down the sideline, scoring a touchdown on one of the first plays. Doesn't allow for much progression. That's why the halves are really the time where you're going to see a big change.
And we do see Elliot Knight and Harry Lightfoot again back to return these kicks. Kick, singular. He's not going to kick it twice. Shout out 72, celebrating, putting the ball on the tee correctly. Nicholas Mitchelson as a line drive is fielded by Elliot Knight. Pitch to Harry Lightfoot, comes down this near sideline.
Got some space.
Does have room. Breaks. And once again,
good
this
tackle.
Alpha's special teams unit getting the ball into opposing territory is doing extremely well. I think on special teams, obviously barring the botched punt snap in the first quarter, special teams and offense is very much doing their jobs now that the Alphas have settled in. I know the defense will want to try and put a bit of a band-aid or a bit of a plaster over the scoring coming from Merseyside.
Yeah, it must be nearing the 2-minute warning here.
Thank you to the YouTube comments telling us that Ben is the quarterback wearing number 99. He just wears it to catfish people. And he got me. Good job, Ben. Tight formation here for the Alphas. You see the handoff is met immediately, shrugs off one, gets met by another two defenders. Maybe a gain of two there for Jack Patterson. I'd assume here as the Alphas, you're trying to re-establish that run, stick with what's working. There's no need to do anything silly here. Obviously, we don't know how long's left in the second, but you don't want to give Merseyside an opportunity here if you're not coming away with points yourself. So I imagine we get quite conservative play calling here.
Coming across the middle court. Breaks one tackle. Still going.
Breaks back inside again.
Potentially clever decision to stay in bounds.
Not sure. It depends how close we are to the half, whether the Alphas are looking to try and stop the clock. I assumed he was going to go out of bounds there, so that would lead me to believe that we're not as close to halftime as we thought. But great catch and run there. Truman coming across the formation on a drag. It looked like we saw that mesh. I think it was mesh again, mesh rail.
It's just nice to see that the easy completions being taken. There's no need to...
As we see drop back again. Culver looking left, looks to Elliot.
Knight.
Catch over the middle. Fantastic. That's another first down as the Alphas march to around the 14-yard line as we do have an injured player on the field for Merseyside, so we will just pan away from that.
It looks to be Elliot Knight on the basic concept, which we're running through.
Not sure whether he was running a post or sort of a dig there as he was coming across at sort of an angle. We will get you a name and number for the Merseyside player who is down as soon as we can, but the medical staff are treating him at the moment as the Alphas offence moves to the sideline, and the Merseyside defence are obviously surrounding their injured player at the moment. We will come back to you when we can.
As we return back to the action, the Alphas around the 13-yard line there.
Apologies, we didn't get a number for the injured player, but did make his way off the pitch under his own steam.
Elliot Knight on his own on the top left there. You got Lewis Truman in the slot to the right, and Jay Smith.
We're seeing an audible here from Lewis Culver, changing the play. Is a handoff to Jamal up the middle, keeps churning. He's always good for 5 yards.
Yeah,
always
picks up another
good for
2 upon contact. He's 2nd and 5.
Can we pan that camera left a little bit just so we can see the full effect? Alphas here with Thomas Noon, the tight end, detached at the bottom of the formation. Seeing Jay Smith
right up the middle.
Met immediately, but we are seeing Mine really just getting on that pile and dragging it. Not sure whether that's entirely legal, I'll be honest. Pretty sure you'll have to push the pile. I don't know if you can pull it, but
first down.
It's a first down.
First and goal. 2 yards Alphas need for a 27-21 lead, pending the extra point. That's 28 points in the first half, which is a very strong output from the offense. As Culver essentially going under centre there, timeout for the Alphas. Wasn't particularly happy with that play, it seems.
In the YouTube comments, we've got David Armitage asking if we've seen much of Bradley Armitage. Not called number 31's name just yet. We'll keep an eye out where we can, if we can see 31 for Merseyside. Haven't called his name yet, but we will try our best. And Alpha's heading out after that timeout, wanting to all just get on the same page ahead of probably quite a pivotal moment in the game, hoping to get some points in the second quarter before half-time. Once again, unsure how long we have left. But we need points here, I believe.
Yeah, my prediction would be a Jamal run up the middle. It's going to be a motion. Jamal dives to the end zone. It's a nice shoestring tackle.
Looks to be in from my angle, although the referees are saying he was down around a yard, so I assume his knee hit the floor before he could fully outstretch that ball.
Yeah, he laid out for that one. It was a really nice play,
yeah,
I would say. Great tackle from the Nighthawks defender. And I believe that is a timeout for the Nighthawks. Sure, the ref signalled.
We are seeing a change from Merseyside as number 90 comes out for number 70. I assume just wanting to put a bit more weight, a bit more strength on that defensive line, as Francisco Rodriguez, who I believe is playing offensive line today, has made his way onto the pitch to play a little bit of D-line, try and prevent any runs up the middle that you'd assume the Alphas will be looking to take.
He's got that green helmet on, maybe 50 maybe.
That's number 50.
Number 50.
That's Ben Hughes.
Who's also playing both ways, I believe.
Yes, he is. We're seeing a very heavy box, one-on-ones on the outside. Jack Patterson handoff does cut up the middle
forward
and walks into the end zone. Kicking team comes out. Will Swales makes his way onto the pitch.
27-21. Alpha's offense catching heat just before the end of the half.
Let's try and keep that momentum through the half. Oftentimes, there's 20 minutes or so between the first half and the second half. People can cool down. People maybe lose that concentration through that time. The Alphas will try and maintain that. But before we get there, we are looking to see a PAT, and obviously the Merseyside Nighthawks will get another possession, it looks like, before half. Kick is up and kick is through.
Some good kicking we've seen today. 7 for 7 on PAT attempts. Obviously, they're easier of a kick than a field goal, but especially at this level, that consistency has been particularly impressive.
So apologies for the confusion on that. Mark Horton in the YouTube chat has just let us know that if there is a player with a green helmet, it is in fact Max Collins. So apologies if we have been miscalling those. We're just working off the sheet that we have in front of us with numbers on.
It'd be interesting to know what team that green helmet corresponds to.
I'm not sure on the origin of that helmet. Obviously, there are two university teams in Liverpool. Bit of confusion on the catch there. 11 takes it again.
Breaks one tackle, breaks another. He's got a great return.
Two good runs up that sideline by number 11 there.
Yeah, Oscar Adamson really making an impact on the kick return. It's been a kick returning clinic from both teams today. See Lightfoot and Knight on the Alpha's side, and for the Nighthawks, Adamson and Alex Willett.
So, once again, we don't know how long's left in the half. If we have a limited amount of time, given this field position, I wouldn't be surprised to see Merseyside try and come out and take some shots, try and get down there, get some points. If there are mere seconds left, you'd assume run first.
Yeah, Ben Robinson clearly got the arm to make a throw downfield. Obviously, we've mentioned we'd like to see a bit less loft on the pass.
We are seeing a run that is a fantastic tackle there by Luke Truman in the middle. Both brothers playing well today.
Yeah, Lewis making a big impact on offense, as he always does. Obviously, last season, accounted for countless touchdowns, I'm sure you'd be very aware of.
This isn't about Lewis. Let's not inflate his head anymore. That was Luke Truman.
Yeah, Luke Truman
making a great play.
Yeah, and Luke Truman,
take it away from him.
Who has been fantastic this season when he's been available. Was a big miss for the Alphas offense against the Rams last week. Obviously had a great game at Rams.
Handoff to the left from Merseyside is met hard by 54. Well. You've got to assume that's Big Bang Ollie Dixon.
Yeah, downhill Dixon is having a great game. A good game for the Alphas linebackers, I would say. They've shut the run down fairly well.
There have been a few breaks in there, but you've got to assume those are missed assignments, because when those runs have broken off, it's not been a missed tackle, it's not been anything else. So I would assume from this standpoint, it's an assignment error. Someone's not where they're supposed to be, and that's pretty easy to try and iron out, and it looks to be doing them well as the Merseyside Nighthawks are now on 3rd and around 6.
Yeah, I may be wrong. I believe that is be a 2-minute warning. I saw some signalling from the referees. May not. If you saw it a bit more clear in the comments, do mention. It's 3rd and 6 nonetheless.
Seeing spread formation, running back to your near side. We are seeing immersion from 11 on the far side. It is going to be a pass. QB's rolling slightly to his left. Ball does go up, deep ball to 16. That's Pedro again.
Bumped, but...
Was shoulder to shoulder from Gaz Hughes there onto Pedro. I don't believe that was pass interference. There's no flags. Was just shoulder to shoulder running. There was no push. There was no grab.
Yeah, it looked clean to me. Just a collision that is going to happen when two people are running and looking at the same ball. Once again, I mean, Ben Robinson, great arm. Maybe a little high, but that one looked...
It's a pretty spiral.
Fine to me.
It's a pretty spiral. It's coming out nice. I'd just like to see him maybe try and get that ball out a little bit earlier. Obviously, because it hangs in there, if he puts that to that spot maybe 2 seconds earlier, it allows the receiver to run underneath it rather than having to fight back through these Alphas defenders who are sort of draped on the shoulders at the moment. Yeah,
I mean, with Luca Martinez, Natty Peck, we've got players, tall DBs. So, and Nighthawks clearly have some fast receivers.
We are seeing punt unit come out for Merseyside, I think the first time today. I don't think I've seen their punt team yet. As that is 16, I believe, back to kick. That's Pedro. Kicking to Harry Lightfoot. Does go out of the back of the end zone as the Alphas take the ball at the 20? 25? 20? I should really know the rules by this point.
Yeah, Pedro Botello there. Obviously, you called his name as receiver on that last deep ball. Punter as well. As the Alphas offense comes out. Maybe you expect a shot. Obviously, Lewis Culver got a solid arm, I would say. Maybe not quite the strength of Robinson there, but we've seen he can make a good deep throw to Truman. The touchdown. Looks to be spread. None in the backfield. 5 wide for the Alphas. Some confusion for the Nighthawks.
Pressure immediately.
Looks
tries to get rid of that ball.
Yeah, we saw the same concept of that wheel route from Truman at the sideline. Looked to be open again. Obviously, means nothing when the protection's not perfect up front, but a concept that's been working well.
Obviously, pros and cons as an offense coming out in an empty formation. Isolates defenders in a little bit more space. You can maybe read defenses a little bit easier, but does mean that you don't have additional help from a running back or a tight end in that pass protection. Leaves your 5 blockers one-on-one. Usually. You do end up with a double team usually in there somewhere, but it's... It isolates the defense, but also isolates some areas on your offense as well. It's risk and reward when you're in those kind of formations.
Alphas here back to a more standard formation. Some confusion. Woodall out to the right. Backfield. It's going to be
sprint out to the right. Going to be a dump off to Truman. Makes the first guy miss. Turns up the sideline. Does look to get out of bounds, which you assume late in the second quarter is going to be the right call to make.
Player down for the Nighthawks.
Looks to be 58, I believe, that's down at the moment. And if that is, that would be Timothy Edwards.
We're going to cut away from that to our sponsors.
And that was 58 making his way off the pitch with that injury. Does make his way off under his own steam. And we are back to the action here. Spread formation again for the Alphas, trying to find that space with the defence. The box is still quite heavy for the Nighthawks. They're trying to take away that running option. Has time, floats this one down the sideline. Does have
nearly
Truman.
caught.
Almost intercepted by 12 there. That would have been Nathan Pennington.
Yeah, one of the times I would say that from a DB's perspective, you'd call that as straps. Realistically, it looks as if 12 lost Truman there in coverage.
Yeah, I think...
Was in a solid position to make a play on the ball, but had lost him behind. And if Truman had been able to reel that one in, which was a tough attempt, it would have been for the touchdown.
Yeah, it's not tough in terms of the fundamentals of the catch, but when you have that defender between you and the ball, you never know whether they're going to tip it or not and change the flight of that ball. It's tough to be in that position and just commit to where the ball is now and then it get tipped. So
yeah, Culver back to
Culver
pass
looking
again.
left, avoids one, throws out to his left.
Nice ball to Truman.
Truman again looks to be trying to get out of bounds and looks to do so.
Yeah, that'll be third and around 5. Out of bounds, so stopping the clock there with seems to be limited time left. Obviously, I believe we've seen the 2-minute warning, but not 100% sure.
I think this third down play here will tell us all we have to know about the clock situation. If we're seeing a run play here on third, I'd assume the Alphas are just trying to get to half-time. If we're seeing a pass play, that means they do see opportunity in trying to go these extra 50 yards and get some points.
Yeah, very deep coverage from the Nighthawks here.
We are seeing pass, drops back, looks middle, dump off.
Just
Unfortunately,
low.
too low there for Patterson to pick that one up.
Clock stops, 4th and 4.
As we do
Punt
see
unit.
change of personnel, yeah, we're seeing Swales come out and a few other changes, obviously, amongst that unit.
Yeah, it's a safe play. Ball downfield.
Merseyside have been good, though, in their kick returns. I don't think we've seen a punt return yet.
No, we had the fumble, which is something obviously would be catastrophic for the Alphas, giving the Nighthawks a chance on a good field position. It will be, I believe that is Alex Willett, number 19, at the back.
With 22, it looks like, in front of him as
Apakama.
protection. We are seeing the punt out to the left-hand side.
Is that around the 30?
Around the 30-yard line of the Nighthawks. Not a perfect kick, but having to force the other team to drive 70 yards.
And also avoiding a potential return,
Yep.
maybe was the strategy there. Just get it out of bounds. I'm sure if asked to put it on the kick returner, Wales has that ability to do so.
Yes, that is the dulcet tones of Mike Sison on the commentary. Do you want me to be more animated? I can maybe try and do that. Stay tuned for the second half where I'd be a bit more flamboyant with my commentary. We are seeing a quick pass out to the right-hand side, 16. It's met immediately by Kaz Deans. Looks like the connection between Ben and Pedro is a big one for Merseyside here. I'm not seeing too many people get targets. Obviously, we've seen the runs coming from Gary. We've seen a few big plays on special teams from Oscar. But Pedro seems to be that one guy for the Nighthawks.
Yeah, definitely a key player. Sure, I believe Dominic Wu getting a few targets downfield.
True.
Not for a completion, but he seems to be a deep threat. Pedro,
He does have a strange stance there, Dominic Wu, at that near side.
Yeah,
But whatever works for you, Mr. Wu.
Not sure that is how they teach
We are seeing
it.
Pedro in motion. We're seeing a sweep out to the right-hand side. Pedro has misdirection. Is snuffed out well. There's a few Alphas in on that. I can see Natty Peck, a few of the other members of the defensive line.
I believe that was 27 on the run. Gary Plunkett.
Trips down to your near side. Rolls out to the left. Is this the exact same play we saw the touchdown on? I think it is, but 21's covered down the sideline. Didn't quite see what happened with the target there. I was too busy looking at the deep receiver Wu there.
It looked as if maybe Gaz Hughes could make a play on the ball, but from our perspective, maybe it looked closer than it was. Just overthrows the receiver. 4th and 4 punt unit coming on.
And from Gaz's perspective, is it worth the risk in that situation? Just make sure it's incomplete. Bring out the punt team, hopefully for Merseyside, and
Yeah,
live
there's
to
no
fight
need
another day. There's no need to play anything risky, potentially tip the ball in the air for a Merseyside receiver to run into. Even if he could have made a play on it, I don't think it was maybe worth it.
Yeah, we've seen Gaz Hughes' touchdown scoring ability. I believe he scored every form of point possible after the recovery.
Oh, a
Fumbled ball.
muffed punt by Harry Lightfoot.
Gets on it well.
Does just drop on it. Good punt there from Pedro. Good recovery there from Lightfoot. Obviously, dangerous runner as we've seen in this game anyway, with the ball in his hand. Ex-rugby player, you'd assume sort of bringing down kicks like that, it becomes second nature to him, but it's always difficult when he's strapping on helmet, pads. It's very hot outside.
Yeah, it's a bright day. I'm not sure where the sun... Not sure if it would have been in his eyes. But yeah, pressured situation, a punt return.
But the Alphas will just be happy to retain possession, obviously, in this situation. They can control the clock. I assume now is the situation to try and just get to half-time, stay up.
Yeah, it's a potential pick six territory. Looks to maybe be a kneel here.
Yeah, everyone in tight. You'd assume this is going to be a knee to take us to the half. Merseyside taking no risks with a deep safety, still 15 yards downfield. Hands the ball to the referee and signals for half-time. So we would assume it's normally around 20 minutes for the half-time break, so we will be back with you then. Unfortunately, we don't get a timer from the referees, so you'll just have to stay tuned, pop us on in the background, maybe check back in around 20 minutes.
We're back for the second half. It's the Alphas kick off to the Nighthawks. The Alphas lead 28 to 21. Third quarter action starting now.
If you've left us on your TV in the living room, stop washing the pots, come back in, football's back.
Absolutely. It's been a strong kickoff game so far. Bagnall, quite a short one.
Fielded by 17.
Isolating 17.
Runs up the middle, has a bit of room.
Taken down.
Is tackled by 47. Pretty quick. So that was Connor McFarland on the return there. Obviously not a designed returner for the Nighthawks, as it does go to the up men in front, but does well enough. Gets them to around the 36, 37 yard line.
Nighthawks offense out. One running back in the backfield.
Trips to the top. See the read option again. Gary running up the middle, met by Alex Irving and a wealth of others. Who else have we got in that pile? Looks to be Jack Patterson and number 90. Do you know who we've got for 90 as the Alphas today?
Not off the top of my head for number 90. It's going to be 2nd and 5 for the Nighthawks.
Jordan Carr was in that tackle as well, apologies. So Gary gets the carry again up the middle.
Great run. Brought down. I think that's Jack Patterson.
Yeah, so Jack Patterson last week, I believe, played the entire game at linebacker with spells at running back. Obviously is the starting running back for the Alphas. But they are looking to utilise some of his physicality at that linebacker spot, it looks like. As we see the read option, the QB pulls that. See Ben running off the edge.
Yeah, looks
gets
like,
out of bounds for a gain of 4 or 5.
Yeah, it looks like Robinson was held up there by a receiver who's meant to be blocking, sort of getting in his way, causing him to run a little bit further out, maybe losing a yard or two there on the QB keep to the right. It's going to be 2nd and 5 or 6. Handle off to Plunkett again. He's got some running room. He's still going. Brought down. I believe that's Patterson again. Already called his name twice on defense on this first drive. It's a strong drive for the Nighthawks. First down on the 30 or maybe 20 yard line. We've got a Nighthawk down injured. I'm going to pan away from that.
Not sure whether Jack Patterson is in at linebacker for tactical reasons or due to injury, but obviously having someone with that kind of physicality is a good thing there. He's not too experienced in terms of the technicalities of the position, but if there's a pulling guard running at him, he's always going to give him a pop. He's always going to try and attack that ball. So unsure whether the Nighthawks will have maybe picked up on the fact that he's now playing a bit of defense.
Yeah, I believe Luke Mallahan, who had been starting earlier on in the season, unavailable today. So maybe as a depth piece, Patterson is in. I didn't see any Alphas linebackers at half-time appearing injured. I can't particularly identify them on the sideline.
We're seeing a spread formation here again from the Nighthawks. Probably expecting that read option again. No. Play action screen.
Dropped on what was a 2-on-1. The 1-on-1 block with the...
That was a guaranteed 8 yards, I think. If he catches that, there's a bit of room before he gets to the safety.
It's Dominic Wu, who has had a few chances, some big plays earlier on the game. That could have been a touchdown. Dropped. He did not look happy about that one. Really a run up the middle. Plunkett brought down well by the Alphas. I believe Luke Truman was in on the tackle. He's having a good game again.
I saw Irving in there as well.
Maybe.
What a tremendous forward roll from 72 there. He was on the floor, did a forward roll to get back up. 72. Props to you, Nicholas. That was athletic.
What I would say from the first half, if you can cast your mind back to the unsportsmanlike due to the helmet coming off, it was actually a kick of the helmet by Alpha's Jord Carr.
Was it? Well,
yeah, so
I understand the penalty flag now. Obviously, we didn't see.
Head coach Warwick Grosvenor telling me at halftime 65 yards of offense allowed by the Alphas due to flags on the Alphas defense. So
it's tough to win a game when you're giving away 70 yards, give or take, for free.
Yeah. Additionally, with the yards that have been moved back on offense too, around about that 100 mark is. The damning statistic. See Elliot Knight on the sideline there.
Checking with the sideline, don't like the initial play. You see the players locking back in, new play call. We are seeing a pass. Dropping back, ball over the middle, does have 16 again. That's Pedro, again, another target for him.
Natty Peck with very tight coverage there. Maybe due to it being a smaller throw, wasn't much air on the ball, which is the only criticism really of Ben Robinson.
That was a nice ball from Ben there. Obviously, aim wasn't particularly there in terms of the accuracy, but the ball flight was much more competitive in favour of the Nighthawks there if they can come out throwing those. Looks as though we are going to get a field goal here from the Nighthawks on 4th and 8.
First attempt of the game for a field goal. Not too far out. Ball goes up.
Definitely has the distance. High. Looks like it was high and left on that kick. So missed to the left there for, I believe it was number 12, the kicker, Nathan. Apologies if it wasn't you, Nathan. So we will see the Alphas offense heading back out from around the 20-yard line.
Doesn't look to be any immediate changes to the starting Alphas offense.
Are we seeing Jack Patterson out there, or are they giving him a spell now that he's played some defense? We're seeing Jamal back there.
Yeah, I believe that is Jamal with Nathaniel Wise in at the outside right. I believe that's F. Roll out. Complete.
Referees do look to be moving. That's great. Sideline catch there. Obviously not ideal in terms of those sprint outs. You like to try and get those balls out 3-4 steps into that rollout, which is when the concept is designed to hit. But looks as though Truman was able to just find a little bit of space on that sideline and stay nestled away between those Nighthawks defenders and bring one in at the sideline.
It looked like he was looking for tight end there, but didn't quite have him initially.
We're seeing a draw play again. Looks almost like a counter.
Jamal, he's still going there. Dragged forward for another 5 yards. Fantastic running. First down opportunity. It's going to be a first down for the Alphas. 11-yard gain there. And another Nighthawk down.
We will pan away from that one. But That's been the recipe for success when the Alphas have had some this year, is that running game, running behind that meaty offensive line. Jamal Alvaranga, Jack Patterson, Nat Wise, Jay Smith have a field day back there and just proves it there. And Jamal is tough to bring down one-on-one. He just keeps falling, just keeps going.
It's Michael Houghton, maybe Houghton. But it was Michael Houghton down injured. Number 2. Helmet off, looks to be in pain, looks to be a leg injury.
Medical staff are just seeing to him now. So if you've just tuned back in, number 2 for the Merseyside Nighthawks, Michael Horton, is currently still down injured with the medical staff looking at his legs. He is sat up, seems well, but obviously a lower leg injury. Just keeping you guys posted. We will be back with the action as soon as this is resolved. And number 2 is making his way off to the Alphas sideline just because it is a little bit closer than going all the way across the pitch, and with a little bit of help from some sideline help, it looks like. Trying to get him seated and recovering.
Yeah, the Alphas offense making their way back onto the field. It looks to be at least a drive off for Jack Patterson here. And with the hot hand of Jamal Alvarenga in the backfield, I do believe.
And we will see the head coach, I believe one of the coaches from Merseyside, is making their way off the top of your screen now. And then hopefully we'll be back to some gameplay.
Whistle sounds.
That is another Jamal run. Big gap up the middle.
Gap.
Is met at the second level, but
Still
it's
going.
not enough. Charging,
Still going.
Those defensive backs are too small to bring down Jamal.
Unbelievable run.
He was hit at all 3 levels of that defense there. Defensive line first, broke that one, linebackers next, and then just pushes his way through 2 or 3 defensive backs there for the Nighthawks.
Another 10-plus yard run for Jamal. Like you just said there, I mean, he's tackled after about 3. Had at least 2 players on him at 7 and still continued for about 11 yards there. Fantastic running. To the ball again.
Right, the hot
Great
hand
room.
Jamal again, met at 4 yards, brings him down at 5.
I believe that's Apakama again, number 22, who is the only player to have brought down Jack Patterson first attempt and Jamal.
Pretty much in solo
fearsome
tackling
tackler.
situation. So 22 is very good defender, it looks like. False start there. Looks to be Thomas Noon.
Tom Noon caught there, 5-yard penalty. A reverse. The work done by Jamal on that first play. It's going to be around 2nd and 10, I believe.
Yeah, that'll pretty much reset to a 2nd and 10. Alphas kicking themselves a little bit here with penalties on both sides of the ball. I'm sure the Alphas would have hoped to have scrubbed those out at halftime, but it's the first false start we've seen today. I have seen a few on the season so far, so Alphas really need to try and dial those back. Motion from Nathaniel Wise at the bottom. It will be Jamal again with another handoff up the middle.
Great hole. He's still
Fantastic
going forward.
gap. Aiden Light getting 30 yards downfield to take the safety, but unfortunately Jamal is caught from either side. But yeah, absolutely love that. Alpha's looking to go a little bit hurry-up offense here, getting set already. Trying to capitalise on that momentum swing there from these players.
Another fantastic run by
We'll see the split backfield. Pass. Look into Thomas Noon. Ball
Goes
goes
deep.
up over the top.
Brilliant, down with it. What a catch. Tom Noon.
That was an incredibly contested catch. Looked like a broken play. Lewis Culver looked like he was trying to throw that one deep to Thomas Noon, but Noon hitched up around 5 yards, managed to recover, wheeled it up the sideline. Didn't look to be a designed sort of hitch and go, but when you have a guy as big as Thomas Noon, sometimes putting the ball up there works. And that time it worked out well for the Alphas, as we do see Noon flexed out here. I wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit of a jump ball to Thomas Noon, riding a hot hand again, or I'd expect to come back to Jamal. And we'll see Nat Wise running behind Jamal. Nat Wise, a little bit of a stutter step, pushing the pile, offensive line getting in there.
No whistle.
No whistle yet, whistled at half a yard short by the far sideline referee. Nat Wise still on his feet. Jamal looking a little bit tired here, hands on the knees, but if I were the Alphas here, I'd be calling Jamal's number again. Offensive line doing a hell of a shift on this drive. We see Nat Wise.
Up the middle. Waiting for the signal.
A lot of appeals there from the Merseyside
Touchdown
team.
Alphas.
But the head ref, Dave Black, is signalling for a touchdown. We get a signal from the near side judge as well. So that is a touchdown to the Alphas on a Nat-wise run at the middle behind Jamal. Great push again. Didn't see who that block was at the middle, but there was a pancake block. I think it was Joe Bradley on that left guard spot. Seemed to open up that gap.
Just a fantastic drive from the offensive line. Not taking any credit away from the running backs, but when you've got a line creating such gaps like that, it really is easy pickings for a competent running back to make those choices. Obviously, the extracurricular yards are a part of our running backs' games, but yeah, great work from the offensive line there.
We are seeing a discussion here with all of the referees and what appears to be the head coach of the Merseyside Nighthawks, which results in a flag being thrown. I assume there were some profanities or distaste shown in that small conversation that we got a glimpse of there on the top side of your screen. I'm not sure how that results or affects the PAT. Does it affect the kickoff or does it affect this play here? I'm not sure. But I think either way, we'll be seeing the Alphas kick a PAT as Dave Black works his way over to our sidelines just to explain that call.
Looks like the call is not inflicted on the Nighthawks so far. Still some confusion there from the referees. Flag picked up.
Maybe ask him.
Just some more scores from around the games. You have Wembley Stallions against Thunder. I'm not quite sure who the Thunder are. That's Essex Thunder. 46-0 to the Wembley Stallions. Up and good. Just to add to the scores there, you have in the, I believe it's European Champions League, Karlstad Crusaders beating the Bristol Aztecs 35-0. I believe the Aztecs won their first game in Europe this season, but with a loss there. The under 16s at Leicester, I believe that was yesterday. North Ants beating Leicester 38-0 and Coventry Phoenix 30-0. In the under 19s, Manchester Titans 38, Sheffield Giants 6. Bit of a shock result there, I believe. That's a half-time score.
Back in. Let's do a switch sides there. We asked the 11. It's 21 back. Change of possession. Dominic Blue back to the 10. Last. Quite helpful.
Yeah, I believe that probably to be a designed play, maybe not to give the ball into the hands of the quite dangerous return options.
Because we have that penalty. Our sideline. Referee. Kick is from the halfway line. They expect it to go straight out the back. Straight out the back and goes back. So that's answers our question, I guess, on course. The Alphas more than half.
the Merseyside Nighthawks unable to answer the Alphas for 21 points. They were 21-14 up, 35-21. So, yeah, with a long time to go, it's not the end of the world, but Nighthawks really needing some points on this drive, at least a field goal, if not a touchdown. Plunkett up the middle for 8 yards. I believe that's Plunkett anyway. He's been the bell cow back. Yeah, it's number 27, Gary Plunkett. For 8 yards, it's 2nd and 2. Good start to the drive. The Merseyside Nighthawks. Another run. He's got some room.
Plunkett run. Gets another, looks like 10 yards. Is held up, not taken to the ground.
Yeah, could have broken that a little bit further. So, damage limitation from the Alphas. Don't want to be giving the Nighthawks here, from an Alpha's perspective anyway, ahead of steam. There's only 2 scores in it.
Apologies for that. We were experiencing some technical issues with my microphone. Jay's clearly just trying to snub me.
I'm taking all the attention for myself.
Had some fantastic insight there, and it was all ruined.
Second and 8 for the Merseyside Nighthawks here. Some discussion between Nighthawks and referees. Not quite sure what these discussions are about.
Don't know what the delay was on this play, but we're now back at 2nd and 8. Once again, apologies for the technical difficulties with my microphone, but we are hopefully back and in full swing. If you could leave a comment, just let me know you can hear me okay. That'd be fabulous. Another Gary Plunkett run up the middle is churning what looks like another 7-yard gain. Alphas are going to have to do something to stop this run. I don't know whether it's a change in formation, change in personnel, but if I'm the Nighthawks here, I see no reason to change what we're doing. It does look like Plunkett is coming out, so we're seeing 24 coming in his place. Joseph Loftus, we'll see whether he can have the same
first time his name's been mentioned today.
He does get the carry up the middle, lowers his pass.
Looks to be stopped.
Looks to be stopped short. We see 55. We see Harry Lightfoot in there as well at linebacker.
Potentially.
I see 81.
Yeah, I'd heard that Lightfoot had been playing a little bit of linebacker today, come into the game. Clearly make an impact there if it was him. Obviously, like we mentioned before, a rugby player, tackling is not going to be an alien concept to him.
And they are going for it on 4th and 1, expecting a hand. No, they do go to the pass. Tries to air this one out, and it is incomplete. Couldn't see anyone near that ball. Ben is not happy with himself. Hands on the head after that throw.
It's a huge incompletion for the Nighthawks there. Scunthorpe Alphas coming out around the halfway line with a 14-point lead, a chance to make it 21 and potentially put the game out of sight for the Nighthawks. They've put up a great fight so far, and they need to continue with that if they're going to be able to make this game competitive going into the 4th quarter. Alphas really looking for the opposite, needing another maybe 7, maybe 14 points to really put the game outside.
Yeah, game's definitely not still out of hand with just 2 touchdowns needed. Like I said, when my microphone was a little bit messed up earlier, they did score quite quickly on a touchdown pass to 16, Pedro earlier. So this game is definitely not gone, but the Alphas do need to try and score some points here. It does give the Merseyside Nighthawks opportunity to tango.
It's a great run at the middle.
Run off
Jay
the
Smith,
edge.
stiff arm, he's still going.
Still on his feet. Out of bounds. Looks like a 25, 30-yard run. Was that a jet sweep there? Or was that a handoff there, Jay?
I believe maybe in the jet sweep. I'm going to take a quick replay.
Unfortunately, we can't get that replay to you, but we are watching back on the stream.
Incredible run, Jay Smith. Stiff arm, breaking a few tackles. Already scored a touchdown today. He's having a great game. Best performance in an Alphas uniform, the former Doncaster Mustang.
We see Jamal, patience behind the line.
Bottled
No
well
gap
defended.
for him there. Does look like it was the linebackers that were there to swallow that up.
Yeah, it looked like maybe the jet sweep to Jay Smith again was potentially the play, but must have been a design run to Jamal.
Looks to be a bit of false start movement there. Right side of that offensive line does just move before the ball moves. We will see the Alphas marching back 5 yards again. Thank you to everyone contributing in the YouTube comments. Davidas asking, where's Canseco? I don't think I've seen him this year. Is he registered and playing?
Yeah, he played against Chester Romans, I believe, but a fleeting attendance. Not really seen him much of practice this year. So, I mean, you've got some, especially linebackers. Luke Truman is a usual at practice. I don't see why he would be benched. Nathaniel Wise, great running.
Dragging the guy along the floor.
A good run, close to the first down. Looks about 3rd and 1, I believe, after this.
Unusual to see that on 2nd and long, but does make 3rd down a lot more manageable. We've got around 3rd and 2, it looks like, according to the far side judge, which is still running territory for these running backs who are probably averaging over 5 yards a carry today. But on both sides of the ball, to be honest, both teams have been running the ball well. Or should I say, neither team can stop the run well.
I don't really remember many negative plays from the Alphas today. Obviously, there's been penalties that have done so, but...
And that is Nat Wise again. Does get the first down, turns the edge.
Touchdown Alphas.
Race to that front corner. That far pylon that you can see. There's not many people on this pitch that will catch Nat Wise in the open field. And he waltzes in.
Very similar to Jay Smith's touchdown earlier. Outside, bending the corner. In for the touchdown. Alphas 41, Nighthawks 21.
Once again, it is worth mentioning, very hot day today. So as the game goes on, players on both sides will be getting more and more tired. We'll have to be taking on lots of fluids. So not to excuse mistakes, but I feel like things have the potential to die down a little bit as we see the PAT go through for Will Swales again. Another touchdown on the board as the Alphas move to 42-21.
Yeah, the Alphas showing their class. Being questioned whether they can prolong success throughout a game. Obviously against the Rams last week, got out to a good halftime lead, but crumbled away in the second half. They've done the exact opposite here. 14 points already in the third quarter, looking for more. Defense has clearly improved. Maybe the halftime team talks changes from defensive coordinator Charlie Wilson working, and the Alphas are rolling on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, as the YouTube comments are saying, it's not looking too good for the Birds right now. We've got Adam Bamber and Davidas chirping up in the comments. Obviously, there is still potential for them to come back. They have proved they can score 21 points and a half with that first half performance. They just need to get back to it. They are running the ball well. I don't know why they sort of went for that pass play on fourth and short at the end of that drive, especially when they're running the ball as well as they have. They have shown that they do like to stick with what works with that inside zone read option, but we shall see what they try and do on this drive. I'd expect to see more of the same when you've got Plunkett back there. as well as Joseph Loftus, I think you need to use those guys if I'm the Nighthawks. And yes, you're going to take some time off the clock, but you need to come away with points on this drive.
Fielded well.
Looks like a face mask tackle to me. No.
Natty Peck, the octopus, be extending his tentacles where they shouldn't go. No flag on the play though, so it's clearly deemed a legal tackle. Alpha's defence onto the field.
There are a lot of the Merseyside team that appear to be playing both sides of the ball, both in the trenches and those skill positions. So those guys will definitely be feeling that heat right now.
Yeah, they look to have a decent amount of players on the sideline. I wouldn't say it's an alarmingly few, but clearly they've got starters on both sides.
Ben back to pass, steps up in the pocket, launches one deep, has a guy but overthrows him. Is that Pedro again? Yes, it is.
You got to feel bad for Pedro today. He's had multiple times where just a better ball, giving him that chance for a long touchdown. Play.
Definitely still would have been a contested catch. It was by no means a walk-in touchdown with that, but when you put in that much effort in play after play, running posts and fades, it does get to you, especially
with no reward.
Yeah, and I realised at halftime Pedro is actually playing both ways as well.
Especially on a day like this, it's not ideal that would be happening.
And we're back to the well.
Great tackle on the outside.
It's a great tackle, but it does drag him forwards. Gave him an extra maybe 3 yards with that tackle technique there. I don't think that's Gary in there. Yeah, that's Joseph Loftus with a good run there.
Yeah, he's played some nice complimentary running back play today. Not in too much, but when he has, he's made some nice contributions. As he stays in there, he's going to get the ball again. Over the middle.
Runs into a wall. Pushed back by Jack Patterson. We've got Alex Irving in that pile as well.
I think 50 that's always in there.
99, Jack Marshall as well. Great team effort there, just creating a wall for where that running back was aiming to go.
Yeah, Loftus stopped in his tracks. I would say the two late inclusions to this Alphas roster, Greenhull and Kasdeens, have made big impacts today. So maybe a sign of things to come in the rest of the season. Obviously, expecting the Rams to be the trickiest opponent they'll face this year, with a few quotation marks easier games. It'll be interesting to see how the Alphas can build some momentum into a potential playoff berth.
Pedro to punt, gets it away, headed towards Harry Lightfoot. Looks as though it's going to make its way all the way into the end zone.
Stopped on the...
Oh, was it stopped?
Stopped on like the 3, I believe. There.
Wow.
Great punt from Pedro. Having a bit more success with the punting than the wide receiving at the moment. But stopped down at the 3. It looked to be a smart play from Lightfoot not to try and jump on it and bobble it, but just didn't quite have the legs to get out the back of the end zone.
David asked in the comments asking where Nick Tomaszewski is. Have we seen much of Nick this year?
I believe personal reasons are prohibiting Nick to play this year. We wish him well. I don't think it's all positive news, but yeah, I believe family commitments have prohibited his playing this year. We do miss him. Obviously, an experienced player, a veteran of the game, and a big piece on this Alphas defense that is needed to be filled by players such as Jack Patterson in this game, big personalities, Alex Irving, these type players to really lead the defense.
We are seeing Harry Patterson out now as well.
I believe that's Will Swales. I saw him warming up. So it looks to be the backup quarterback in. By no means much of a downgrade. Will Swales, the left-handed quarterback. Good plays. Good movement to the left there.
Just scramble around in his own end zone.
Not the smartest play there. Looked to be looks to be a botched play confusion there. Will Swales tapping his head as he gets up there. He knows it's his fault. Can't blame the guys around him. It looks like, according to the FAR, sticks a loss of 2 to 3 yards. Will's a competent quarterback, though. I'm excited to see him. I've not seen him too much in terms of
getting a decent run at a game. I know he's come in every now and then in previous seasons for the odd plays, the odd drives, but I'm excited to see how he settles into this game and given an opportunity to have a good run at it and sort of gauge that defense from that quarterback spot.
4 receivers, 1 running back. Flag on the play.
So with Will Swales coming in, we've got Harry Patterson in at receiver as well. Looks as though the Alphas are trying to get a bit of rotation in today, which I don't blame them, particularly with the heat of today. There's a lot going on, and now's the time. Obviously, they're up 3 scores. Is it 3 scores? 3 scores. Bit of a buffer there. Obviously, we've seen comebacks of 3 scores or more, both in this league, in this division, in previous seasons. So we need to see how this plays out.
You see Josh Knowles, Leeds Beckett University running back in the backfield. He's not had too much time this season. I'm not quite sure how many games he's been able to play, but an exciting young prospect.
Update from Sam
21.
Bloomfield in the comments as well. Manchester Titans are currently up 17-0 in the first quarter in their game in the Premiership.
Is that Newcastle Jet?
I'm unsure who they're playing. I'm sure Sam will let us know.
Vikings,
and that is a run again. Some speed.
Josh Knowles.
Is that? I'm seeing, wow. What a run from number 7 it looks like.
JJ Smith again.
Jay Smith. Huge run. Needs a rep out after that one. I don't blame him. That's a hell of a run. Squeaks through what looked like a small gap in that offensive line. Nothing to take away from those big guys. Any gap's a gap. But just turns on the jets and burns through 40 yards of open grass before anyone finds him.
Yeah, apologies, JJ, on the missed call, but JJ Smith playing a fantastic game of American football today. Multiple 20-plus yard runs. Obviously had the touchdown in the first half as well. A real exciting prospect. As I said before, Doncaster Mustang. The Josh Knowles in the backfield. You see Harry Patterson, Alpha's youth product, and brother of Alpha's star Jack Patterson. Out wide on the left. The
Looks to be Knowles in at running back.
Knowles to the left of Swales. Got Knight and Wise on the right-hand side. Lewis Truman slot left.
We do see Knowles getting the handoff, spins out of that first tackle, goes again, lowers the shoulder, first down Alphas. There's been a few times like that where there is a Merseyside defender within arm's reach of that handoff. I'm not sure where that's coming from, whether it's a consistent player that's getting through successfully, but is always just those split inches away from making that tackle in the backfield. Swales takes off to his left, does have legs, will get to the sideline. I think that will be for a first down.
It needs to be safe, especially in a game like this. You don't want to get injured in what is a bit of a blowout at this point. It's nice to see some backups in for the Alphas, and they're still moving with the same proficiency as before. Seems as if it doesn't matter who's in, product is still working.
Apologies for the late change on the scoreboard there, but it did tick over to the fourth quarter. We just didn't make that change on our side. Obviously, we did see Will Swales scrambling around in front of his own end zone, and now we see the Alphas are now attacking that end. So we are into the fourth quarter now. As Swales does roll to his left.
Easy completion.
Small
to
check
Truman.
down. And taken out of bounds for a few yards. Looks to be around 4. Adam Bamba, Let's Go Titans players, and Danny Barnes. Danny Barnes, I don't know if you were with us at the start of the stream, Adam, but he was getting a lot of calls that weren't for him due to a numbers on the jersey mishap. So he got a lot of credit for passing touchdown earlier. So I'm sure he'll post that somewhere to give himself a shout out.
Yeah, I believe according to us, he's rushed and thrown for a touchdown today. It's a very good game for someone who didn't actually do it.
When his stats look great at the end of the year, that'll be the asterisk of when the commentators messed it up. I'd like to blame Jay Smith for messing that up. Don't know why. Just fancied it. Actually, I'm going to blame Lewis Truman because he
had too much praise.
Yeah, he gets too much praise. He was telling me earlier about how he had an avocado for breakfast. It's just too much information. I don't need that in my life. I'm here to talk about the game, and he's filling my head with info about sitting in his armchair eating avocados instead of me concentrating on the game. So I blame Truman.
Very much deserving of that blame. Looks to be the Alphas offense coming out onto the field. They'll have Knowles, Swales, Patterson, the first time we've seen them this game. In this drive, and they've moved the ball well. 2nd and 5 now. After a completion to Lewis Truman for around 5 yards. Knowles in the backfield again.
Tight formation here for the Alphas. Running back in the shotgun. In the pistol, sorry. We are seeing the handoff to the right. And he's brought down in the backfield. Fantastic
Number
tackle by 17 there.
Connor McFarland, who we saw field a kick return earlier on in the game. A great tackle there off the edge. Be nickel corner, maybe an edge rusher. Got that tall build. At full extension there for the tackle on Josh Knowles, who looked to have a lot of space, a lot of green grass in front of him.
A lot of green grass and one red jersey, number 17. Made a hell of a play. Drops back to pass. Takes it out
Great
left.
throw.
Truman, wide open
Truman
grass.
has space.
Oh.
Takes a man with him. Looks as though he maybe went into contact too much there. Maybe should have focused on progressing, but who am I to tell a man like
Truman's an aggressive runner. Once he gets up to full speed, it's hard for him to stop and plant those feet for his sidestep. It's great in some scenarios there. Maybe would have been nice. Maybe he was hoping to run through the guy. But, yeah.
Speaking to Coach Sam Folds at half-time, he did identify that play. Play 72 includes a Lewis Truman across the middle on the flat, and he said that play would be open, and it is potentially for a touchdown.
Handoff here. So Jay Smith just walks
so
in.
much room.
Tremendous
Touchdown,
block
Alphas.
on that right-hand side. Who was that? I'm going to see if I can watch that back on my my stream here. Apologies for it being late to yours, and apologies for us not able to get the replay function. But I did see a huge pancake block from a receiver out there. Looks to be the far side. Maybe a little bit of an illegal block. Looked like a hip toss. So I can only assume that's one of the Patterson brothers out there. I think it was Harry with his MMA background. Not really too legal in terms of the football blocks. And what was that? Was that a...
It's a 2-point, and it's good.
That looked to be a...
Alpha's at 50 points.
Sorry, I was waffling over that play instead of watching.
I believe that is in the business called a 50 burger. Not 100% sure.
Yeah, so it did come out in a regular formation. It looked to be Jay Smith again, finishing off his 6 points with an extra 2.
Yeah, Jay Smith adding to his impressive day so far.
Impressive from Will Swales as well, coming in off the bench. Obviously, had a blip on that first play where he was scrambling around in his own end zone for a little bit, but seems to have settled in a little bit now, and is I can't really fault it yet.
Yeah, showing a lot of composure with those 2 drag plays to Truman. 2 for 2 on his completion percentage. Consistent kicking. I mean, maybe they gave his foot a rest there with that one, trying to take it up to 50. Alphas now with a commanding 29-point lead, 4 scores.
Kick off unit back out. Andy Bagnall looking to kick this one away. And I believe that is Oscar again back to return on the far side with Dominic on our near side, as we'll see as we pan round as the kick goes off. Kick is away. Looks to be Dominic returning that one. Takes it well, running up the middle, slows down.
It's impressive. He's
bounces again, out to his right, tracked down by Natty Peck, who had a shot to tackle him earlier in that return, missed it, didn't give up on the play, ran back, made the tackle.
I mean, it's lucky he was there. It looked to be a lot of space for Dominic Wu there to run onto. Impressive tackle, Natty Peck. And the Nighthawks start on around the 28-yard line.
Devadas in the chat talking about Truman's catch down that near sideline. He's waiting for Truman to hurdle him. I've seen Truman do a lot of moves. I've not seen a hurdle yet out of Truman. Huge run up middle, gaps big, breaks again, bounce. Great running.
Go again.
Fantastic running.
The only Gary born since 1999 with the run there.
Hello to Neutral Perspective in the chat. This is a game in England. There is part of the BAFA, I guess, division. I don't know what you'd call BAFA as sort of the governing body.
Organisation?
Yeah, it's the organisation overseeing American football here in England. So this is Division 1. There's the Premiership, Division 1 and Division 2. This here is a game from Division 1 in the north as the Scunthorpe Alphas are taking on the Merseyside Nighthawks.
Looks to be a different quarterback in with a completion to the outside. A number identification on that. I believe that's number 10, Hussam Faraj, who clearly has come in for Ben Robinson.
Yeah, so more background on the sport here. Obviously, it's a sort of a self-funded organisation. Nobody here is paid to play. Everyone plays as a hobby. We play most Sundays, I think. Is it a sort of a 20, 30 week season through the summer for us? And obviously, the Scunthorpe Alphas are coming into this game 1-2. Merseyside are currently sitting at 2-0.
Run stuffed up the middle there. Multiple Alphas involved. Had Ollie Dixon in there amongst many more. Chris Peel, very complimentary of your commentary work so far, Mike.
Just me, not you. That's why everyone was complaining when you turned my mic off.
Thank you very much.
When you snubbed me.
Chris Peel, thank you.
Chris Peel with the worst field fashion I've ever seen, who played for the Rams in a golden undershirt.
Negative play there. Sack in that. I believe Alex Irving was amongst the players on the tackle. Obviously, Alex Irving, as well as being a fantastic player for the adults team, is the defensive coordinator at the under-19 level for the Scunthorpe Alphas. Doing a great job there, making a big impression on the players from what I've gathered. Just a great guy all around.
Also, Chris Peel in his extremely complimentary message saying about my transfer to the team next year. I am having a year out this year. Obviously, I played for the Alphas the last 2 years. I've been a bit of a pass around for teams in the past. So if anyone wants to pay me a bag of Tang Fastics, I'll potentially look at any transfer options for next season. Thank you.
See the Nighthawks punting the ball away. It's going to take a positive bounce from an Alpha's perspective as their offense comes back out onto the field. At this point in the game, I don't think we've reached the mark of rolling clock. I believe that might be 36 points, I want to say, around 5 scores. But one more score would do that, but I don't believe those will be too much longer as we see maybe a few more backups went out into the field. Josh Knowles, I can see in there, Adam Woodall, Harry Patterson, Will Swales in there, Elliot Knight.
We are seeing a little bit of a change around on the offensive line as well. I'm seeing 76 go in, who I've seen in group chats called Little Martin. Doesn't look very little, but I've seen him, I believe he's a strongman competitor.
Martin Lewis.
Yeah, so strongman competitor, I believe. Not sure to what level. Apologies, Martin, for not knowing your credentials, but excited to see you out on the field.
Yeah, we see Steve Sowerby, number 55.
Huge return down that right-hand side. And who is
Harry
that?
Patterson.
Harry Patterson.
A great run from I think he might be 19 at the moment, was eligible to play for the youth teams, chose to join his older brother in the adults. Someone seemingly
Huge
very happy
celebration from someone.
I believe he might be a Liverpool fan because they have just scored. Cody Gakpo, if anyone's wondering.
Little bit of a discussion going on now between the referees in the middle. Not sure what it was for. Potentially there was a flag on that return. We are seeing Ruben Laws, I believe, come in for Adam Woodall. Played for us 2 seasons ago.
Yeah, picked up a nasty injury, I believe.
Suffered a nasty lower leg injury, which put him out for the entire year. I think last year he potentially could have played, but obviously there's no point in rushing back from injuries like that. So it's good to see him back on a football field. He's a ex-York Centurion. I believe he scored a touchdown in his adult season, his first season as an adult. So excited to see him. Obviously, he's a little bit of a backup here for Adam Woodall, but no drop off in skill there. Excited to see what he does.
2-0.
Don't know if you can hear the celebrating from the guy in the burger van here in Scunthorpe, but he's very animated and clearly a huge Liverpool fan. As Jay's just informed me, they've scored again, which you'd expect with the loud shouts coming in my right ear. Hopefully you can't pick that up on the microphone. Apologies if you can. Yeah, David asked, that is Alex Robson on the sidelines, obviously originating head coach for the Scunthorpe Alphas, huge contributor to what this club has become. I believe he's here on gift shop duties today. I think he's working the stall, selling some drinks and keeping everyone hydrated throughout the day. But obviously, will always add a little bit of input where he feels he can provide value to the team. Great to have him back around.
Yeah, it's great to have a man like that around. Obviously, we're glad he's seeming well. Him and Cardin Smith, ex-Alpha safety, doing a fantastic job with the flag teams at the moment, which are picking up a lot of traction and momentum, doing big things in the Alpha flag scene.
Back to the action here. Swales, accompanied by Knowles, stays into pass protect.
Drops back. Great protection.
Has all day. Maybe gets a bit jittery back there.
Looked like he had his left-hand side to run out to and chose to loop back around to the right.
Potentially, there's a lot of appeals there for something. I don't know what.
I believe intentional grounding was the call because he didn't look to be particularly out of the tackle box, but
I believe there is a depth to the tackle box. Hopefully, someone experienced like Bloomfield or Peel in the comments can let me know. I believe obviously the tackle box is the width of the tackles, but in terms of intentional grounding as a ruling, I'm not sure whether you can run out of the back of the tackle box, so to speak.
Yeah, you'd assume that the referees would know that and make an educated call, which they clearly didn't. So it's going to be, I believe we're having issues with the down mark. It's 2nd down and 10 after the ball thrown away by Swales. I believe that is Amit in the backfield. It's great to see him getting some game time. In protection, it's going to be a sack.
He's met hard by 17 off that left-hand side. 17 again. Huge celebrations from the far sideline as Connor McFarland comes screaming around the edge.
Having a very good game in what is potentially a quite disappointing day for the Nighthawks. There's been a few standouts, and Connor McFarland is definitely one of them.
Was that a 4th down play? Or was that a fumble? I think that may have been a fumble. I don't remember that being a 4th down. I feel like I would have noted that. So it looks as though on that huge hit and the forced fumble, there is a turnover in possession as the Nighthawks take over possession of the ball. Just looking back on the stream, that was a fumble.
Completion on the sideline.
Fantastic
Great catch.
Sideline catch. That is the best 3-yard catch I've ever seen. Great toe drag, diving out of the far side. Have we still got 10 in at quarterback? Are we back to 99?
Yeah, I believe it's Faraj. Yeah, I believe it's number 10.
Mm-hmm.
Still in at quarterback. He's be 2 for 2 for pass attempts so far, so making a good account of himself. Ben Robinson had a good start to the game, dropped off slightly with a few mistimed passes. Obviously has an arm, but good on his feet. But maybe when the press is on to have a high volume of completions, it's just not quite as his
You do see
strength.
10 rolling out to his right, tries to hit the flat, not on. Was intended for 11, was intended for Oscar. Closely covered by Gaz Hughes. Don't feel like if it was a completion, it would have been any more than a couple of yards. Brings up 3rd and 7.
I believe that was Greenald off the edge there, causing a disruption. Once again, the debutant is having a very good game. I believe it to be his first game in adult American football.
In trips down to the bottom side again for the Nighthawks. Gets them to jump. Free play. Throw that ball to the end zone.
Oh, looks to be a completion, but
17 did a great job fighting back for the ball there, but unfortunately broken up.
The Alpha defender finished strong there, ripping the ball out.
I think that was Kaz Deans back there, just getting in the way.
Yeah, you'd expect a player of that experience and quality to make a play on the ball, even if it seemed to be a completion from the receiver. Either way, it's going to be a 5-yard gain and no play. 3rd down and 3 the Merseyside Nighthawks.
Been very pass heavy since the change of quarterback. Obviously, you can't entirely put that down to the quarterback change. It's obviously the game scenario, needing to try and get some points to make this a competitive game again.
Into the huddle.
I wouldn't be surprised again to see them maybe try and go on 2 again, try and get another jump out of this Alphas defensive line, get another free play and a first down. Nope, they go on 1 nice and clean. Check down to 17 on the hitch, lowers the shoulder, 17 against.
McFarland.
Making plays on both offense and defense. I don't think I've seen him on the offensive side of the ball until now. I don't know whether that's a recent change or he's just not had any targets in that first half. But he's making an impact all the way across the board for this Nighthawks team.
Yeah, McFarland, possibly my player of the game from a Nighthawk perspective. Mike, if you had to make a judgment on player of the game, just throwing this at you now.
It's tough to say, in my opinion. The running backs have done extremely well. Truman's done very well. Culver and Swales have both played extremely well. So if I had to pick an offensive, obviously I think I would have to go with Truman. For the defensive side of the ball, we've said Alex Irving's name a lot. We've said Luke Truman a lot. We've said Natty Peck a lot. It's tough for me to pick an overall MVP for the Alphas here. I think it's been a good team game of football, well-established run, good passes. Obviously, a tough first half for the Alphas in terms of stopping that run, but it looks as though they managed to get a hold of that, get their assignments down, and have sort of fixed those things and not allowing the Nighthawks to score in the second half, although they are knocking on the door here.
Yeah, and from a Nighthawk perspective, Oscar Adamson, Colin McFarland, Ikechi Apakama. 3 names there that, as well as Ben Robinson, especially in the first half, have shown a good account for themselves despite the points conceded and the lack of production in the second half.
And we are hearing from the comment section as well that what was his name? Connor McFarland, sorry. I should know his name. We've said it for the last 10 minutes. Connor McFarland is actually a quarterback, typically.
Really?
So not sure why he's not playing there today. Maybe just a change-up. Is he?
Well, he seems to do everything else. So.
Starting quarterback for the Liverpool Raptors for the last 3 years. As they try to target him there. He is hit as the ball hits his hand, tries to appeal for a flag, but I don't believe that was one. Interesting, because I used to coach the University of Hull Sharks.
I think that's Alex Irvin. Talking of Hull Sharks alumni.
Speaking of Sharks, he appears. So we would have played against the Raptors there as well, but I was the offensive coordinator, so I wasn't too dialed in on what their personnel was like on their offense. But good to see. It's always good to see players go up from juniors, youths to a university team to play in senior ball. That's how we grow the game out here in England. I think university is a good starting point for everyone in terms of getting into American football. We are seeing a different formation here for the Nighthawks as they come out with stacked receivers. We're seeing 11 now in the backfield. Don't know what's happened to Gary. No, 31. My apologies, 31. Which
that is Bradley Armitage. I believe his name was mentioned in the comments earlier. Ball goes over the middle, looking for McFarland again. Seems to be a player with a lot of experience. A player they lean on a lot in the kick return, on defense and on offense, and a lot of positions there.
Interesting question from Chris Peel. I'm going to let you answer this first, Jay. Who gets the award for worst field fashion today?
It has got to be number 99.
He said at the end.
Yes, as I was saying, Ben Robinson for the worst football fashion so far. I can't quite remember last time we shared the commentary booth what that fella's name was.
Chris Peel.
Was it Chris Peel?
With the gold Under Armour.
Well, Chris Peel, not only is he slating me in the comments, he also cannot dress himself. So I've got no idea why he's trying to question other people's football fashion when he wears gold undergarments.
Yeah, apologies for the mics dropping out there. We had someone pop into the booth just to give us a quick message, so apologies for that. I think that was a delay of game, it looks like. Alpha's not able to get the playoff in time, as we'll see. First down and 15 for Will Swales. Trips out to his left. Expects potentially a run from Amit Singh here or a sprint out to the left. Stays in the pocket. One-on-one matchup. Tried to hit Elliot Knight on the far sideline. Looks as though he's running a post. Ball placement wasn't great for that. Maybe a little bit miscommunication on what the route was or potentially just a miss throw. But looks as though he was potentially throwing like a dig there and Elliot Knight ran a post or potentially just a bad ball from Swales there.
Trips to the left again for the Alphas. Let's see Amit Singh getting a carry. Ball out,
Hits Elliot Knight.
Jukes one,
but he stays attached on his legs. That'll be a good 12, maybe 11-yard gain there. Brings us to around a 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2. Alphas are looking to potentially try and run the score up here, not trying to run the game out. They're keeping the ball in the air, maybe trying to get some of these newer receivers some touches.
Yeah, I think that's what I put it down to. I don't think it's any form of disrespect or anything like this. I think it's purely just getting players game time, and it's the perfect time to do it in a game that it looks like they are going to win. Ball goes forward there. It's going to be picked off.
And that is intercepted by 22, who is tough to bring down.
A big linebacker with some good hands there to bring it down. Swales throwing what looked to be double or triple hitches, just throws it too far inside, doesn't really connect with the receiver in the way you would want, not extend it to the sideline, and it's picked off.
Big shout out to ex-Alphas player as well, Ryan Wakeling, who's currently playing out in Poland for the Silesia Rebels. Apparently scored 3 touchdowns today for Ryan Wakeling. Obviously a huge contributor to the Alphas' success the previous 2 years. But obviously not stopping the Alphas from succeeding here today. We wish Ryan all the best over in Poland and continued success in his playing. I think he's scored in every game, I think, that I've managed to catch a stream of. If you're interested.
Every game ever. I think you could have just stopped it there.
Every game ever.
One of the best players I've ever seen live, to be honest. Made some spectacular catches that I've had the pleasure of commentating on
He definitely made me look good as a quarterback.
Many of them thrown by you.
Run up the middle, big 31, big run, running behind those pads. That's Bradley Armitage again, who I believe we had a shout out in the commentary earlier. I believe it was, not sure who it was that was asking around that one, my apologies, but he's in the game now, Mr. Armitage. Yeah, I can't find the message, but yeah, in the game, running well, running behind the pads. He's going to get another carry here up the middle. And he's just pushing that pile. A hard runner. I tell you what, this Merseyside team have a good stable of running backs. Good stable. With Gary, with Joseph, and now with Brad as well. All seem to be doing extremely well running behind that offensive line. Got to give them credit for when they've been able to move the ball today. Every yard that Merseyside have managed to get has been hard fought. There's been no easy. There's been no gimmies.
I'm liking the back plate on Brad Armitage as well.
That's good swag.
Yeah. That's good.
The undershirt showing, the back plate hanging out the back. Good field swag.
Well, 99 gets the Chris Peel Dreadful Clothing Award.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who's the staple for good clothing. Maybe it's the Armitage Award going forward. Nice clothing.
Great spot from Davidas there. We had Aiden Light in at that drive playing defensive tackle. Makes his way off now with Steve Sowerby, but you're right, Davidas. He's been playing left tackle, I believe, for the majority of the day.
Having a great game.
Clearly just filling in when needed. Love players with attitude like that. You need me to go in, I'll go. Yeah, sure. I got it. You need those guys in a team.
Yeah, giving someone else a rest in a time that it's been a lot of smash mouth football up the middle. It's taxing on the bigger D linemen. Not too much. There's been a few threats downfield, but more workload on the D linemen rather than the DBs so far this game. third and 1 situation.
A couple of messages in the
4
YouTube
yards
as
to go.
well about Craig/Claude Owen, who's a running back for the Nighthawks, who unfortunately is out of this game injured. Unfortunately, I don't know too much about the Nighthawks roster in general, so I can't contribute on his playing. But if he's getting a couple of shouts outs in the chat, we wish him a speedy recovery if he's injured at the moment. Hope to see people back playing as soon as they can. Another handoff at the middle, 31.
Bottle up well from the Alphas defense.
Big
there.
stop, looks to be back on 4th and 1.
Chris Peel asking there what we would like him to wear. Just not that.
Anything else?
Yeah, I'd say anything else. You've got a nice uniform to base something on.
Just wear black.
Black, white.
Gold, if you can find. Not gold.
Not gold.
Shiny gold.
Not gold.
It's the shininess,
It's a
Chris,
shiny
that's the problem.
gold bin bag.
If you're wondering what we're talking about, you can find, I believe, on the channel, the previous stream of the Scunthorpe Alphas against the Rams. We talk about that for most of the game. We don't really.
It was more enjoyable for us from an Alphas perspective than the result. And maybe Peel has the last laugh.
Ooh,
Fumbled snap there.
fumble snap.
Don't pick on it. They could take it to the house there.
And that is Jack Patterson, I
Jack
believe,
Patterson.
dropping on that ball.
Signalling for the first. Maybe bad going to worse there for the Nighthawks.
And we do, unfortunately, have an injury on the play again, as we see a player down. Does look to be a Nighthawks jersey, unfortunately. Don't have a number for that, just off the right-hand side of your screen. So we will pan away from that, as we have been doing, just while the medical staff tend to that one. Back to the action here. Looks as though the Alphas
Might be victory formation.
are in victory formation here, looking to take a knee. Close this game out. Gotta say, it's been a nice, good-spirited game of football. No chippiness, no scrapping. Just good, clean game of football. Obviously, we've had a fair share of penalties, but they've all been self-inflicted. There's been nothing too malicious other than the kicking of a helmet, which is an odd one that I've not seen
not heard
before
that
in my
before.
10 years of playing. But you see something new all the time. As we see the knee, and the ref will signal on that right-hand side whether that is the ball game. So, as the result here ends at 50-21, we will see at the bottom of the screen there a little tribute to Hannah, who is a good friend of the club that we all...
Game day manager.
Game day manager that we wish well to.
So I get well soon to Hannah, the game day manager at the Alphas, the person who makes
all
the
this
club
happen.
kick.
Makes all this happen. So yeah, the Alphas take victory in this one as a score of 50-21, putting them at 2 wins and 2 losses on the season. The Merseyside Nighthawks now move to 2 wins and 1 loss. I'm not sure of what the upcoming fixtures are. I'm sure you can find all of those on social media. But thank you for joining us today for a good-spirited game of football. I've been Mike Syson.
I've been Jay Robinson. We've had Harvey Bowden on cams doing a great job on his debut on the stream. Yeah, so thank you very much. Alphas taking the 50-21 win against the Merseyside Nighthawks.